Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
What's up, everybody? Happy post 4th of July. Hope you're doing well out there. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. Does feel like a Monday, guys, but it is Tuesday. We're a day ahead of the game here this week, man. So how was our weekend? What do we do? Anything interesting, fellas? What was on the agenda?
Bro, I just had a great time, man. First of all, how about that show we had on Friday, man?
Yeah.
You know, down in Oceans. I mean, it was unbelievable, man. That's a first-class place, bro. First class.
They do an amazing job. They really, I'm blown away every time I'm there. Honest to God, like for us, they had to. I look at it as an honor to be sort of the ribbon cutters, if you will. And Barrett, you literally were, man. But to open up the gallery, their sports book. I mean, that is an honor, man. And it was such a cool event. There were so many.
Yeah, it was.
A lot happening, man. I thought it was I'm with you. I thought it was a spectacular day, man.
The venue itself, the sports betting gallery was incredible with the big screen monitors. They had a big circular bar right behind us, food flowing, drinks flowing. The overall ambiance at Ocean is incredible. This was the second time I've been there. I remember when it was Revel before it became Ocean. Yeah. And I was there once, but I've not had the opportunity to explore it as much as I had the last two times. We were there for the pre-draft show for hours. We did our sports take show from the Top Golf venue there. Mm-hmm. And so that was the first extensive time I had to just go around. And it takes a lot to impress me because I've seen, we've been blessed to see so many different things in our lives. But what Ocean, the new ownership has done at that place is second to none. Now I understand why it's one of the top casinos and destinations to stay in Atlantic City in that area. They roll out the red carpet for us every time we've been there. The place is just a fun atmosphere. It is spacious. It's like a spaceship almost.
Right. That's the way to put it.
It's when you see it from a distance, it looks like this skinny tower. And then when you get up on it, and you see how expansive it really is.
Yeah.
And I'm walking around like this. Wow.
Right.
Like
a little kid or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And the people, they make you feel special.
Yeah. The service is unreal. And there's so many options. There's so many different shops, restaurants, whatever floats your boat in terms of like food that you're into, man, you're going to find it. I mean, it was really cool to be there. For sure.
I had a great time, man. I was blessed enough to when they opened the gallery, I yanked on the string in the new symbol sitting right there in the middle, as you walk into the gallery. It was unbelievable, bro.
Yeah, really cool, really cool. So our honor to be there, and we're glad for folks who got a chance to stop by and hang out with us. It was great meeting everybody. We see everybody on the in the chat room. Hey, Philly Grown, yeah. We see you, Daz. What's up, Daz?
Yeah.
William. Frank, we got all you guys. Showtime. What's happening, everybody? Hope you had a great weekend. Hope
68 more days.
Yeah.
68 more days. That's right.
Before we move on, Barrett, you know what the best thing was about being at Ocean on Friday?
What was that?
Rob brought his daughter. Okay. Beautiful girl. I don't know how she's Rob's daughter because she got her looks from her mom. But we spend so much time in our lives embarrassing our kids that payback is coming at some point.
Right.
So she sits down with us and eats lunch, and she proceeds to tell us about Rob's weird eating habits. Mm-hmm. You remember this?
I do. Yes.
And she is in her glory.
Oh, she loved every second of it, man.
Because I can see the look on her face because my 3 kids have done this to me. Uh-huh. She has this look on her face. Vengeance is mine, saith. Mm-hmm. And she tells us about Rob's bizarre eating habits.
I'm picky, finicky, and like a 4-year-old. That's the way I eat. Is the best way to explain it.
Rob,
She gets no variety, none whatsoever.
Yeah, like they have a part. Like if I'm working and I'm not around for dinner, it's a party because then they're getting. And by the way, and she made up. I never say to them like she said, we love eating Chinese food, but when he's around, he won't let us. I don't say you can't have it.
Yes.
That is
When
false.
she said that, I almost choked on my food. Wait, Dad won't let you order Chinese?
I'll cop to anything she says except for that. Okay.
Oh, and that's the first thing that Gunner picked up on too.
You guys fed.
Man.
Fed into
You
it.
know
It was
me.
like a feeding frenzy after
You
that.
knew I couldn't let that go by.
I know.
So Rob, if you will, share with our audience some of your weird eating. First of all,
you know what I did forget?
What?
Gunner, I did forget this.
What?
The donuts.
Yeah.
These donuts, man. The tasty cake, the little round
Mini chocolate, mini mini powder.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I eat the same breakfast every day.
Which is
dry Cheerios with
that's
no milk.
gross. That's gross.
with no milk and a water.
And a water. I'll
That's
get crazy
gross.
sometimes and mix in an iced tea or something like that.
With Cheerios?
Oh yeah. I don't put it in the Cheerios. I just drink an iced tea to wash down the dry Cheerios because they are dry. Okay.
Oh, not even Honey Nut Cheerios?
Bro, come on.
No. Oh, and good morning, Mama Brooks.
Good morning, Mom.
Central Time. Good to hear from you, Kevin. We see you guys, Daz. All right, so yeah, that, and then I'll have like 4 or 5 mini chocolate donuts. Sometimes, depending on the day, maybe 1 or 2
Oh my
more.
goodness.
Yeah,
That's why my glasses were hurt. That's why I'm squinting like this.
Put the glasses on, man.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself.
Appreciate that. You see appreciate that, Kev.
Yeah. So I eat that, and then I have a very limited, there's only certain, I like pork chops, hamburgers, spaghetti.
SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, there's not, meatballs with the spaghetti. There's sometimes sausage. I'll get crazy. There's not much else, man. It's pretty pizza. It's pretty limited.
It all stemmed from us talking about Hoagie Day.
Yeah, right.
I don't he doesn't like hoagies.
He doesn't eat hoagies.
It's very un-Philadelphian. Like I take so much.
Eat hoagies?
I know. I'm weird, man. I am a weirdo. You know what's crazy? And I don't mind lunch meat. Like I'll have
with
ham. Yeah, whatever.
Wait, you don't like ham?
I do like ham, but
okay.
I don't like I don't like lettuce and tomato all jammed in there and all that stuff, man.
I don't like tomato on my sandwiches, but I got like a little lettuce, a little mayo, a little oil.
Yeah, like these guys are all right. Like Showtime says, I do eat like his 7-year-old. I eat like a 9-year-old. I do. It's true. It's true,
bro. And then the food can't touch. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like the food
to touch.
touching.
Wait. What's wrong with the foods touching? What are
He
you
said
talking
about his
about?
dad.
Yeah, my dad would do like a mush. He would get mashed potatoes and then purposely break everything up and just drop it in the mashed potatoes and throw it down just to taunt me while we were eating.
What's wrong with that?
No, that's what he liked it. I don't like it.
It's all going to the same place.
It's all going to the
that's
same
what he
place.
said. That's what he would say. What are you nuts? Where do you think it's going? I'm like, I don't.
Hang on, guys. I got to step away for a second.
All right. Gunner's got to step away. Yeah. So it was fun. We got to it was nice because we finished the show. Then we went and got a bite to eat. Then we came back and we did sort of the ribbon cutting and the grand opening stuff there around 4:00 on Friday. It was great. And then I know you hung out that night too, Barrett, at Ocean.
Yeah. So the room was impeccable. Suite was impeccable.
Yeah.
Like when you go up, they gave me the keys to the room.
Mm-hmm.
But I left and went out, and when I came back, I didn't have my keys. Like, oh man, I ain't got my keys. So I go back upstairs and to go up to where you check in your hotel at. You go up these the escalators.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful, man. It's probably up like maybe 100 feet in the air. And
it's high.
And you're looking out over the sea. It's beautiful, man.
It's killer. And I'll tell people too, if you go to Top Golf, where we did, you had duties here, but Derek and I did it. The view there is sick as well. Like you're looking at the beach, you're looking at the ocean, and you're playing Top Golf right there. It's really, really cool. So really tell everybody, stop on down, man. It was great. So did you get a chance to get out on the boat at all? Like, what did you do this weekend?
No, I didn't go out on the boat because I just went down to secure the boat, made sure everything's good with the boat. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and then my the boat that I just finished, my project boat. I just finished putting together.
Nice.
You know, I finished that up and got that going in the right direction. So it was a very productive weekend. And then I crashed D-Gun's
Oh, you did?
party.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I brought my squad. Yeah.
Now you had the water slide, right? You had
30-foot high water slide. We had a 30-foot high water slide. My daughter and son-in-law have an in-ground swimming pool. It was 88 degrees out, overcast, and we were wondering if this rain was going to roll in because we kept seeing the dark clouds in the distance.
That was Saturday, right?
It was Saturday. The party technically was 2 to 5.
It was supposed to be bad weather-wise. We got lucky.
But we got lucky until like 6:30. Well, most people left like right around 6 o'clock. And we saw the clouds coming in rolling, and you can see some of the dark clouds with tails on them. You think this is going to be nasty.
Right.
And you can see squall lines coming in. But every time we thought they were coming towards us, they would move south.
Okay.
So we bought ourselves some extra time. So like 8 of us are running around like the Keystone Cops because on Thursday night, we set up 5 huge tents, and we connected all of them. The tents, I have 4 tents. I have 2 10 by 10s and 2 that are 10 by 30. Okay. So we set up those 4 and connected them so we can make one consistent canopy that everybody could be under. And then they set up all these tables, chairs, for the party. So I go there early before the party. And my son-in-law was still scrambling around the day of the party. Like, you know, it's only 3 of us because everybody, my wife and my niece and my daughter, they're making last-minute cakes and stuff. So we're scrambling around. He's got like 10 ice chests full of different drinks. And then he says, "Can you work the grill?"
That's it. You're in your glory, man. Can
you work? Now, remember, it's 88 degrees out, partially overcast. I'm wearing like a black T-shirt.
Oh, man.
And I've got on my big Indiana Jones hat. I said, just say no more. I got the grill. So he had a Blackstone grill and a gas grill set up side by side. Oh. I did 73 burgers.
Oh, my God.
And people walking by me, D-Gun, you must be nuts. Are you okay? You need anything? I said, just give me some water with ice. My daughter brought me out this big container with ice water. Mm-hmm. And, man, I was in my glory, man. I love heat.
Yeah, that's your wheelhouse right there, man.
So I'm in heat with a black T-shirt on and a big hat. And the weather didn't affect me one bit, man. Yeah. I enjoyed every bit of it. And the party went off great. Barrett brought his grandson and his niece and nephew.
Nice. Yep.
And we had about 77, 78 people. And the kids, man, we had the water slide, the pool, even the grown-ups, when they got hot enough, they jumped in the pool.
Of course.
Barrett was like the Pied Piper. Everybody wanted to hang out with Barrett.
That's the way it always is, man. Barrett rolls in and the party just gravitates towards him, man.
We talked about everything, man.
Oh, yeah, we did.
But then Josh's his son-in-law, his uncle lives right next door to him.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Now I'm a kid in the candy store.
I kept telling I'm going to set you up, Barrett.
Well, yeah, so I need to know a little more about the uncle.
So the uncle next door owns his own like energy company, okay?
Okay, he's doing pretty well. Yep.
He had this special garage built.
Uh-oh.
Okay? With hydraulic lifts in it, and he collects vintage cars, and he had 4 of them, 2 up on the rack high, 2 on the bottom. You walk into place, you eat off the floor. Now, I'm telling Barrett specifically and another friend of mine, Paul Birch, who loved tinkering, building stuff, tinkering stuff, cars and all kinds. So I set them up. So it was just supposed to be me and Josh, my son-in-law, and Barrett. I turn around, there's like 9 of us walking over to this garage, right? And we're like, and Barrett taking from there. Barrett and these guys were like kids in a candy store because what's in his garage is ridiculous. I'll let Barrett take it from there.
First off, when I walk into the garage, we're in the garage. The AC is better than in my house.
Yes.
It's freezing there. I mean, it's like unbelievable. Yeah. I come in and I look. There's a 2-car lift.
Yeah.
And then a 1-car lift on the other side.
Yeah.
There's a nice, Ford, like a 4950 pickup truck sitting up there.
Really?
You got 2 Chevys at the bottom. It's just beautiful. An F-150, this mint condition. I mean, it's unbelievable there, number 1. Number 2, he's got a table you can sit down and play cards at.
Octagon-shaped table.
Yeah. Like a little man cave action off in the garage.
Oh, my goodness.
That's exactly what it was, bro.
Yeah.
I just wanted to sit there. I was just looking, man, sitting there. I mean, It was unbelievable, bro. So I was good. I was good after
That's
that.
all you needed after that.
Yeah, I didn't need the burgers. I didn't need dogs. You know, there was plenty of beer I could have drank. I just sat back. I was just in awe of this guy's garage, man.
That's
you
awesome.
could eat off the floor.
You can eat off the floor.
Come to find out, he has a maid that just comes in just to clean that, not the house, but to clean that garage.
Damn. Something tells me you'll be headed back over there at some point.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's cool.
No, he can't. No, he can't go back. He can't.
You know not to invite me.
No. Once a year. Once a year, Barrett is allowed to get close to my people.
Only one time he used up his privileges.
Yeah. See, look, his daughter, she texted me, said, "Thanks for coming by, bring the kids by." In fact, my son still talking about, your family coming by. I'm like, yes.
That's awesome.
Now my kids are tied into my grandkid,
So done, Gunner. He's in now.
They're gonna go play with Josh and
penetrated
Luke.
the inner circle. You're done.
They're gonna go play with Josh and Luke. I say Josh because Josh is a kid in himself. You know what I'm saying? He's a kid too. But little Luke, in fact, I know how to do it, bro. I know how to do it. See the grandkids with his grandkids. I already had to buy, his granddaughter, a gift. I thought I got the loudest gift I could get. The loudest
he
I could get.
Oh yeah,
I got that. But I also bought the other two grandkids. Luke, and his other grandson,
Cruz
gifts also. So Cruz I got Cruz a Spider-Man, and I got Luke two Star Wars figurines.
Nice.
So I came in and schmoozed them up first.
You know what you're doing, man.
That's
a pro right there, Derek.
How can I stonewall him? He does this all the time.
You just give up. You got to throw your hands up, man.
Whenever he's come over to my house for an event, whether it was my daughter's baby shower or stuff like that, or wedding shower, he brings these extravagant gifts. And my kids are all in their 30s. They call him Uncle Bear, and I'm like, how did this happen? I'm pretty good at stonewalling people, Rob. I'm telling you, man. How did I allow this to happen?
He's a professional, man. He knows what he's doing. Okay.
Cruz is inside the pool. First of all, he's got this little Spider-Man. He grabs Spider-Man. He just jumps into the deep side. I'm like, hold on, Cruz, you can't do that.
No. He's 3 years old.
Yeah, he's fearless.
He wants to do. Now, last year, at the age of 2, he wanted no parts of the water.
Right.
All of a sudden, he's Jacques Cousteau, right, with these little floaties on. So at one point, my daughter Tina says, tells her husband Alex, watch him because he might jump in because now he wants to do everything Luke, the 7-year-old, does.
He's following the 7-year-old. Yeah.
And Luke swims like a fish, Okay. And so sure enough, at one point, he took the floaties off of him. You see him running towards the pool.
Oh no!
And zoop, he jumps into the 7-foot in. So luckily, they grabbed him real quick. Now he's getting better. He's got it down how you kick your legs and use them. But still, he went straight down, zoop, and they got him real quick. But
he didn't care, though. He didn't care.
He didn't care. He didn't care one bit.
He did interrupt me eating my third piece of Trish's lemon cake. My third piece. I was on my third piece when he did it, so I said I better slow down.
Oh man, I think it was a sign. Someone was trying to tell you something.
So my wife made this lemon cake. Her lemon cake is to die for.
Right.
I think Barrett had 4 pieces by himself, I believe.
Right.
At least 4 pieces.
I was just on my third when that happened, but I had to get one for the road though.
There you go.
Nobody, I didn't want to waste it. Nobody else was eating it, so I didn't want to waste it. You know what I mean?
Why not?
But Rob,
scoop it up and take it with it.
I worked for NBC for 23 years, and people always ask me, "Hey, D-Gun, how come you never invite me over for barbecues and stuff?" And Barrett would tell you, my standard line has always been, "I keep working home like church and state. You have to keep them separate." And no, it ain't personal. It's just business, right?
I appreciate that.
So this dude somehow, I still to this day cannot figure out how I allowed him. Now, he's the biggest obstacle, so you can't miss him. But yet, he's the one who would slip behind me the easiest. I can't figure this out to save my life.
Well, just to your credit, you never do invite me. It's always somebody
That is not true. That is such a. You know what? Come to think of it,
invite me.
You know what? I think he's right. I didn't invite him. Every event we've had has been my wife inviting him or one of my kids, my oldest daughter. And I'm like, they go, "Yeah, Barrett's coming." I said, "Who said Barrett's coming?" Well, Dad, we invited him. Did you ask me about this? Well, no, we don't have to. No, they tell me we don't have to ask you. Oh, I pay the bills here.
There you go.
Yes, you do.
I love it.
Bro, it's like that all the time, man. And I met, what it was, I met them on accident because they were at the office. And I was, of course, I was coming in late, and they were supposed to be gone by then. You guys, he's trying to rush them out. No, come on back here and sit down. Come sit down.
That's great, man.
But
That's
I will
great.
say a few people have. Let's see, Lisa Hillary. Remember Lisa Hillary?
Yeah, Lisa's
my
awesome.
my wife invited her for Thanksgiving.
Mm.
One Thanksgiving she's been there. Rachel McCauley has been there.
Love Rachel.
Brian
NFL
Spielman.
films.
Yeah, Brian
Spielman. Great photog. Great cameraman.
Tom Kretschmer.
Same. Kretsch is a great cameraman as well.
Jerry Hines came over here one night and shot my son's music video with him and his music partner. Jerry came here like 5 or 6 in the evening one night and stayed till 5 in the morning shooting this music video in the house.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Let's see who else.
Jerry now teaching in South Carolina.
In South Carolina, yeah.
They're doing very well too.
He said,
doing well for himself. Yeah,
real well for him. Yeah, that's good.
Let's see what else. I think that's about it. Everybody else have been able to stonewall, except Darth Vader. Speaking of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Speaking of Darth Vader.
Oh, nice shirt.
Darth Maul. I mean, that's what's the name's son? Was not Luke, but his new nephew rather.
Who?
Right there. Who's he? Star Wars character is he?
Darth Vader.
That's not Darth Vader.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. That's not Darth Vader.
It's not. Oh, who the heck is it?
Guy. The new
See,
guy.
I think I've only seen the first 3. I don't.
Yeah, of course. Know. You and your dry
Star
Cheerios.
Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Right? Are they the first 3?
Yeah.
That's where I checked out.
Rob, what do you do anything in life for fun? Your eating
fun?
habits are bland. You work 7 days a week. Do you do anything for fun in your life?
Hang out with you 2 for 3 hours. That's my
there
fun.
You go.
That's dude. That's
I drove.
boring.
So speaking of, Friday I drive my daughter from AC to Sea Isle. She was going to spend the weekend with her friends, and she had a blast. Man, Sea Isle was packed.
2-pack. Man.
Was it?
2-pack.
Oh, I mean, there's no parking there. It was crazy, and I was only there for like 20 minutes. I got her down there, whatever. Stopped at a house, turned back around and left. I was in and out of there relatively quickly, but my God, I know it's 4th of July. It was packed, man.
Bro, I had to park across the street at the at the marina, so it was pretty bad, man. Then Captain Tony, he goes out, he takes his kids out. It's so bad, man. The weather was so bad, man. The kids got sick. He drove back to the I talked to him today. He drove back to the dock. It was so bad.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I hope everybody had a good weekend. We know there's a lot going on in the world and our country, and we hope everybody had a good weekend, man.
Yeah. And now, Rob, you said normally you had told me Friday that normally it would take you like 20 minutes to get from where we were at Ocean to Sea Isle. How long did it take you with all that traffic?
It took less than an hour, but I'm not surprised.
Less than an hour?
Yeah, I'm not shocked. It was the problem is you got to jump right back on the Parkway.
Right. One way in, one way out.
Yeah.
What?
So I wasn't. You know what? Honestly, it wasn't. It was okay. I kind of anticipated that's what it was going to be. I probably did it like under 50 minutes, which really wasn't that bad.
See, that's why I don't do Jersey. I don't do Jersey Shores in the summer. I don't touch Jersey in the summer.
I'll tell you, I drove home and it was nothing. Like I got home from Sea Isle in like less than an hour and a half. It was
wow.
Yeah. It was
I thought I was going to run into a lot of traffic going across that Delaware Memorial Bridge going to Ocean. By the time I left my house at 8:40 in the morning, it was clear sailing. I had no problem and when I was coming back, well, when I was coming back, everybody's going. I'm going south. Everybody's going north. I had clear sailing going home, so I was good.
I see Chris saw Top Gun Maverick, which Barrett will attest to this. Very good, very good.
Very good. Yeah,
give it 2 thumbs up for sure.
Yep.
I'm watching this series. I started watching it maybe Friday or Saturday. Saturday maybe. Called The Old Man. Have you guys seen any of this?
No.
With Jeff Bridges?
No.
I don't want to give too much away, but he's a former CIA agent, and he's being hunted down. He kind of went rogue, okay, back in the day in the early 80s, and was like in wars with the Russians and all this other stuff. So he kind of went rogue, and they're trying to chase him down. But there's like a million little cool plot twists in it. I think it's on FX. And you get it on Hulu too. If you guys want to check it out, I've watched
The Old Man.
The Old Man. It's called. There's 4 episodes in. There's some good action stuff too. It's 4 episodes in so far, and I would give it like 2 thumbs up. it's good. It's not quite like Ozark good, but it's solid. It's really solid. I'm liking it.
There's one that's been, I've seen a lot on Twitter. They're promoting. It's on Apple. It's with Bruce Willis. I can't think of the name of. He's supposed to be like this vicious mob boss or something like that. That people are
With Bruce
talking about. I
Willis?
think, yeah. But suppose he's given up acting now because of health issues. But
Yeah, he's got
everybody's
cognitive issues. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a shame.
So I'm intrigued
Bruce
to watch this one.
Yeah.
What's it called?
No, I don't know. I don't know the name. He was saying Bruce.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. It's sort of dementia-ish kind of stuff. I don't know exactly what the diagnosis is, but anyway,
Right.
I know what you're talking about, Gunner. It was
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
last things he made, maybe the last thing he made.
Yeah. William
so-
Stark. Yes, I have been to Ocean City, Maryland. I go to Rehoboth, Dewey, and Bethany beaches in Delaware a lot, and I have been to Ocean City. So
It's great. I love Ocean City, Maryland. I haven't been there in a while,
Yeah.
but I love it.
I haven't either. Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, we trust me, we're thinking about all the people, all the suffering that's going on in our country.
Yeah,
as well.
man,
So
it's sad, man. Oh my goodness.
awful, just awful. We'll try to provide for you a little escape here for the next 2.5 hours. That's what we're here to do for sure. All right, so a couple things. One, Philly's back in action tonight. They had an off day yesterday on 4th of July, which is absurd, but they're back in action tonight. They're only one back of the wild card. But there are some injury things that we need to dive into, which we'll get into with them and whether or not it's time to make a trade. So Philly's back. Sixers Summer League, believe it or not, in action in Utah. There's two portions of it. First portion is at Utah and then in Vegas. So they're in the Utah portion of the Summer League now. And if you saw the shot of the Hamptons party, Meek Mill performing it at Michael Rubin's place, you had Embiid, Harden, Tucker, and Maxey there. And this is supposedly where the negotiations are taking place with James Harden. So I'm sure that's going to be a tough negotiation to get him to sign on the dotted line.
Oh man, you get a couple of drinks and Daryl Morey, he might get $87 million for 1 year.
I think Harden's now a part owner of the team.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. This is getting worse and worse by the minute.
Yeah. So
now they're partying together. Jeez.
Well, and the other thing is we're 3 weeks away, guys, from training camp. Today's the 5th. 26th is when camp starts. John McMullen's going to be joining us at 1 o'clock. John had a really good piece on JAKIBsports.com. If you get a chance to check that out, on sort of what the contingency plan is next year if Hurts doesn't work out. With the 2 draft picks, could they be going after a current player that's already in the league to take over the quarterback spot? It's kind of a different thought process than what we've been talking about. So he's going to join us coming up at 1. And we did this for the AFC on Thursday and Friday. Actually, it carried over a little bit both days, I think.
Yeah.
But one of the things we'll do today is we're going to dive into the NFC and go weakest to toughest division in the NFC. And we'll tell you where the NFC East ranks in those when we break those down. So I'm looking forward to doing that as well. Your boy Joey Chestnut threw down 63 hot dogs yesterday, won his 15th hot dog eating crown in the nation. And he's playing hurt. He's got a boot on. And then some dude came up trying to do you see this? The protester came at him.
Yeah.
He's up there. He's throwing down hot dogs. Some dude just comes out of nowhere. Joey Chestnut just locks him up and puts him down and like nothing. Like,
hey man, you get enough hot dogs, man. You get that extra strength, man.
That hot dog strength is dangerous, man.
I'm telling you, man. You got to be careful.
Yeah, the food ninja. Yeah, so we'll dive into that. A bunch of other stuff that we're going to get into. I have a good something that premiered on this date because I know you guys like the on this date birthdays, kind of stuff. So we'll hit that a little bit later as well. So we got a lot to do today. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will turn our sights on the Phillies, and then after that, it will be the Eagles. He is Derek Gunn. He is Barrett Brooks. I am Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take. Smash that like button, by the way, for all of our friends who are viewing, all of our friends who are listening, and all of our friends in the chat section. Please hit that like button. We appreciate it. All right. So knowing what to do with your finances can be a real challenge. That's for sure. And a scary proposition, right? And especially now, because things are just absolutely crazy right now in the stock market and everything else, housing, you name it, right? We all know that. But I have the perfect person that you can lean on and use as a resource, and he'll send you in the right direction. And that's Jim Murray with Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, If you have a small business, you want to set up your employee benefits, he can help you with all of those things. He's helped me with a number of them, including my IRA, my 401k rollover, and I couldn't be happier. And again, he's someone who will explain things to you if you aren't some finance expert. He will help you. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751, or you can email him at email him murray.jim@principal.com. That's murray.jim@principal.com.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community, a sports roundup for the locals, and the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
What up, everybody? What up? We are Sports Take, the JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis, hanging out with you on this Tuesday. I did have to make a little adjustment. I'm like, it's not Monday. All right, that's good. It's not a bad thing. It's a good adjustment.
Absolutely, yeah.
It does have a Monday feel, doesn't it?
Yes, it
that's
does.
for sure.
Rob translation. Rob means that's one less day he has to deal with us, Barrett. That's what he's saying.
right.
AKA, yes. No, I'm teasing. But so mention this in passing before we stepped aside with the Phillies. So, guys, here's the good news, right? They're one game back now, that third wild card spot. They've slowly chipped away, and they've won 7 of their last 9 series. And you guys remember, we were talking about this before Girardi got fired right in the beginning of June, that they got to start winning series, man. It felt like they were losing every single series that they played. That's why getting that game Sunday night, and Zach Wheeler was, really good. And they got clutch home runs from Hoskins and Real Muto. Because the Cardinals are a team that you're vying with for that final wild card spot.
That's right.
That was a big win for them on Sunday with a split series going into that game. It was 1-1. But yeah, so they're one game back now, and they welcome a terrible Washington Nationals team. I mean, Washington guys, this is how bad they are. They're 1-4 against the Phillies this year, but they're 6-27 against the NL East.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is an opportunity to just keep building, man. And the biggest thing, also bigger picture, without Harper and Segura, you kind of want to just you want to stay afloat, but you want to be a little bit above that too. You don't.
Yes.
And they've been doing
absolutely
it, right? I mean, that's exactly what they've been doing so far. They're 6-4 without Harper. So
we were saying that they're 6-4 at Harper. We were saying if they went 10 games and they went 5-5, it would have been respectful. There's one game above 5-5. You know what I'm saying? So I just see them. They just kind of keep winning these series, man. Imagine if they'd fired Girardi maybe
earlier.
2 weeks before then.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We'd been in a much better place. But like I said, where we're supposed to be at right now, we're one game out, and they're seeing that they're learning that it's possible to win without Harper, and that's the biggest thing. It's possible.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree, man. And what you need to happen, Castellanos is still kind of faltering a little bit. Real Muto looks like he's getting a little bit better. The big one here, guys, although I would say he's come back to earth a little bit shorter, but the big one has been Hoskins.
Yeah.
Hoskins is really he hasn't had that big dip that he generally has.
He has. No,
he's been really, really good. I mean, you look at what he's done lately, guys. Last 25 games, 341 average, 9 home runs, 17 RBIs, 443 on base, and a 750 slugging percentage. That's some big time productivity from him.
We keep talking about how he's hot and cold. Well, he's stayed relatively even keel so far.
Yeah, yeah.
He's, putting him in that 2-hole has really helped. When you bet behind the likes of Schwarber, that takes a lot of pressure off for you. And obviously, his swing is more relaxed. His defense, well, that's still another story. It's hot and cold. But the bottom line is you got to run produce. When you start playing these teams like Atlanta, St. Louis, the runs can overcome a lot of your deficiencies if you're matching them run for run. And the way Hoskins is hitting the ball now, and especially with all the injuries they have, now you can't afford to trade him. We were talking about him as a primary trade bait.
Right, exactly right.
You can't afford to trade him now.
Exactly right.
I agree. The last thing you can afford to do is hurt your offense. You just can't do it. And
no.
Hoskins has been, phenomenal. He really has. But that's the good news, right? All that's good. And they're 4 games over 500 and all that's good. The bad news is a couple things. One, Eflin's already on the IL with a bad knee, which has been a chronic issue for him. And then now this popped up Sunday. Suarez goes on the IL with back spasm.
Jeez.
So you're down 2 starters now, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Which means you're also killing your bullpen.
Yeah.
These guys, because on Saturday and Sunday, so Friday and Saturday, because Saturday Gibson stunk, and Friday he had Bailey falter.
Yeah.
The bullpen had pitched like 10 innings those 2 games. And that's why it was so big for Wheeler to do what he did. Wheeler really stepped up Sunday.
Yeah, you need that.
You can get 7 innings. If you can get consistently 7 innings out of your starters, that takes a lot of the pressure off the back end of that bullpen. You don't have to use those arms as much. My only concern is with Falter. He hasn't pitched more than 5 innings in any of his starts this year. You've got to find a way to extend him. And I know they have him on a pitch count. They've been watching him closely. But you've got to find a way, especially with Suarez down now. You've got to get some extension out of him because you don't want to start mixing and matching with his bullpen because, the bullpen, we've given kudos to the bullpen for pitching well lately, but I still don't trust that bullpen. There's a few teams that when that bullpen steps to the mound against my heart's in my throat.
Yeah,
I still don't trust them. But with these injuries now, what kind of move can they make? Because you got to give up something to get something.
Yeah,
they're like a problem,
right? And you're right, Derek. And I think we were initially looking at it like, all right, are you going to make a trade to get a center fielder because they still need that badly? Are you going to make a trade to just do something to bolster the offense without Harper and Segura? And then we were all saying, are you going to make a trade to get a bullpen piece because the bullpen had been so shaky?
Yep.
You look at it now, I think you need to get a starter.
Yeah,
I mean, because
but how are you going to do that? What are you going to give up?
I'm not. Let me put it to you this way, Derek. I'm not giving a ton up in that, because the Phillies have a couple lower level guys who look like they have big arms. But I'm not trading anybody off the roster. It's going to be some kind of prospect that's sort of middling, and I'm hoping to get a starter that's in the last year of his deal on a team going nowhere.
Yeah, but if we go by what Jim Salisbury told us last week, they want to protect some of these arms that are in single A ball.
Yeah,
because these are the starters for the Phillies of the future, and the future could be as little as 2 years from now.
Right.
You know, if some of these kids continue to pitch the way that Salisbury is telling us they're pitching, they could leapfrog certain levels of minor league baseball in a hurry and end up in the majors. If you give them away, you have nothing, and you're going to have to pay big money again to bring in somebody else's veteran player, which is going to really push you up against the money game, and you could hurt you somewhere else down the road. This lineup you have today is not going to be the same lineup 2 years from now. And, you know, you can only do so much, and one area could be stronger, and you've weakened the other area because you've depleted your minor league system.
Well, and that's what I don't want to do. I'm not giving up those, you know, the big time prospects, the Carpenters and the Abels and those kind of guys. I'm not doing that. Okay. But the other thing to keep in mind, which is interesting, if you can somehow bolster that starting pitching.
I don't mean to cut you off, but
no.
You know, I'm listening to you talk, and it just, the light bulb went on. Very seldom does the light bulb go on. You know, it needs to be changed every other day. But what about putting Appel in the starting rotation? I mean, this dude's throwing 97, 98. I mean, seriously, he's pitched well this season with his team.
It's not crazy, Derek, because he started his whole career up until this year.
Yes,
but they finally found success with him in that bullpen. I don't know if they want to, if it ain't broke kind of deal with him. I don't know. It's a thought. It's definitely a thought. I'm not discounting it. But
yeah,
the one thing that's really interesting here is if you can tread water here, it's almost like making two trades. You're going to get Harper and Segura back, two monsters in September.
And
you really need to get
far away. That's 2 months away, though, man.
I know what you're right. Yeah. That's the thing. You start saying, "Oh man, it's only July 5th, man."
Right.
That's the problem. And the other issue you have is the trade deadline is 25 days away, whatever it is.
Right.
You're going to have to make a decision by then.
Well, see, that's going to be tough, though, Rob, because we talked about this. You know, the amount of games you have are a lot less than you'll have next month.
Correct.
So because I keep thinking, I don't want to go down and mess with the farm league, man, because that's where the 07, 08, 09 team came from. When you had Utley, Rollins,
Ed Wade's credit, he held on to those guys.
Yeah, he did. Exactly. Yes, he did.
Yep.
You got to keep those type of guys, in your farm system. So even it was almost a detriment to Ryan Howard's career because he kept him down there too long.
Right.
No matter of fact.
When Tommy was here. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. This is tough, man, because they did go out and get guys like Shane Victorino, guys in and be that, be almost like a staple, in the locker room, guys like that. So this is one of the hardest times to be a GM, man. This is one of the hardest times because
it is.
They're right on the cusp. Yeah, they're right on the cusp of being a really good team, and being an average team.
I just wonder too, like, does John Middleton, who's the owner, Dave Dombrowski, who's the president of the baseball operations, do they look at it and say, man, we're already over the luxury tax. Let's just, and we're right there with the wild cards. Yep. Let's just push in more. Or do they say, man, we've taken this pretty far as we can financially. Let's see if we can just maintain here, and hopefully we get Harper and Segura back, and that can lead us to the promised land for the first time in 11 years. I don't know. I mean, it's a really difficult call. I think you do have to do something, even if it's for a guy who's like a fourth or fifth starter.
You got to do what they did with like a Jason Worth. You're gonna have to trade a guy like that, a star player like that, to bring in somebody to stabilize.
But how much do you disrupt the chemistry that you have right now in the offense?
Right.
I mean, honestly, I don't disagree with you, but you got the young kids producing on the back end of the lineup.
Yes.
You've got Hoskins consistent. Schwarber's tearing up the league. Castellanos is starting to come around a little bit. Real Muto is still iffy, but he's had a couple of big hits over the last couple of games. What do you delete without messing up their chemistry?
Yeah, and here's the thing. When you get past Wheeler and Nola, you're still an offensive team. You're going to have to out hit.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I'm not touching the lineup. I'm not doing anything to the lineup in terms of like Hoskins or one of those guys.
Yeah, but so then what are you going to do?
That's a great question.
What do you do? Your minor league system is not that strong as it is overall.
Yeah.
But you do have some lower tier prospects that the Phillies are real high on. Do you want to get rid of them? I don't think so.
I don't.
Okay. At the major league level, if you want to get that picture, and again, I agree with everything you guys are saying, but it goes back to what I said initially. If you want to get something, you've got to give up something. Now, Barry, you just brought up Bohm. Okay, possibility, but the kid's played a lot better, compared to where he was playing in April. He's played a lot better, especially defensively.
Yeah, he's been solid.
Yeah. What do you give him up? Stock? Do you give him up?
Yeah, see, that's where we are right now, because these are guys that have shown promise the last, since we lost, G. Now we're in a position where, all right, they're starting to play better. The younger guys starting to step up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you let a guy like that go? I mean, you can get some worth out of that. Alec Bohm, you can get some worth out of Alec Bohm. You can get some worth out of Scott.
Yeah, I can't. You're so thin, guys, now. I mean, you're throwing Moniak and some of these guys out there every day almost, or every other day, or rotating them around. I can't. And Herrera, I can't weaken myself at other positions. I can't do it. I'm not doing it from what I have right now as far as my 1 through 9 goes.
I might let Herrera go, but then again, what are you going to get from him?
Nothing.
Nobody's going to trade you Disney.
No, I mean it's like saying you're going to trade Mickey Moniak. There's just no trade value.
Exactly.
No point.
What about Didi go?
Didi's cooked too. Barrett, he's cooked. He's hurt again. His elbow's hurt again.
Yeah.
He had a lubricant treatment in the which they
what?
shot it.
A what?
I swear that's what it's called.
Say that again.
That's what they call it.
No, stop talking to us like that, bro.
Hey, man, I'm uncomfortable right now, man.
Sports Day after dark.
Hey. My man threw out of left field. He throws the word lubricant.
I swear that's what they call it. If you look it up, all right, do a Google search.
I'm going to tell, hey, honey, I'm going to get a lubricant treatment.
Oh, you are.
That's what Robert Kraft called it.
Yeah, right. Right. All right, now, Robert.
Yeah. No, but I swear, I'm looking this up. So I was just do a search.
Look at Rob's face.
Do a search of what the procedure was.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Oh man!
I swear that's what it's called. But anyway, it's because he's got the bad elbow. So whatever, or a bad something.
Bad elbow. You got a bad elbow, huh?
Wink, wink. Yeah.
Right.
So so he's out too. So there wasn't much value with him anyway, Barrett. So it's they're in a tough spot. They are. It's not like there are certain teams, Dodgers or whatever, that have just loaded farm systems that can just offload somebody and you get a legitimate prospect in return. It's not there. It's just not there for them. So tough spot. Yeah. So for what they're doing. So a couple of things to look at. Mention the injuries. They're bringing up Christopher Sanchez is going to start tonight. It would have been Suarez's spot. So you're hoping. The good news is you may miss Juan Soto, who got hurt the other day for the Nats. He's about the one of the few decent players they have. And Soto's a phenomenal talent. But he may
who
not
they pitching tonight?
Christopher Sanchez.
See, that worries me because they should smoke Washington. I don't want Washington to think they can beat this team any way, shape, or form.
I know.
Washington's pitching staff sucks. So if the Phillies give up 8 runs, they should be able to score 10 easy on this Washington pitching staff.
Yeah, but Washington's throwing a kid who it's Apollo Espino, who is no great shakes himself. He's a young.
That sounds
dude.
like a pro wrestler, Apollo Espino.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of, I watched yesterday. I think it was AMC had the Rocky Marathon on.
Zeus.
I watched Rocky 1, 2, 3 and into 4. I ripped off yesterday.
Hold
up. You sat there and watched almost 4 Rocky movies.
It was so good. Yeah.
On the 4th of July.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Did you grill out at all, Rob?
Grilled.
Now, I don't mean grilled Cheerios. Did you? I don't know. Don't tell me you grilled no dang Cheerios.
Ribs, which were killers. They were killer ribs.
Hey, look at John. Look at John Dickerson's. The medical term for what Dee got is a KY injection.
All right. Oh my God! Now I'm gonna look it up. Now you guys are driving me crazy.
I just tried, and all I got was mechanical stuff, bro.
Yeah, you want to be careful if you're Google searching that. Be careful.
Right.
I want to see the first athlete who does a commercial for the lubricant and treatment. Hi, my name is so and so.
Yeah.
If you have sore muscles, try the lubricant treatment because I'm telling you, it'll loosen you up in a hurry. It's a nice, smooth transition.
Bro, that is ridiculous.
Oh, man.
I needed that.
Something's wrong with you, Rob. I'm serious, man. Hey, can we get your daughter on the show one of these days?
Yeah, we can.
I got more questions to ask her. I really do.
Right. She let the skeletons out, bro.
I know. She's not afraid to just leave it all out there, man.
Now, I will tell you one thing. My kids will never be on this show.
Oh, God.
Because I ain't answering no questions about nothing.
I'm the one who's driving her over to Sea Isle. It's like, really? Okay. Air all the dirty laundry? It's like that?
How about I drop you off on the turnpike?
How about you walk? Yeah.
Hey, man, look at some of these comments, man. This is hilarious.
Yeah. We are out of control. All right. So I'm pulling up the story right now, as a matter of fact. Corey Seidman from NBC Sports Philadelphia puts it out there. So let me see if I can find it.
You had to watch the words, man. Pull.
I'll be careful. Okay, so he's dealing with it's left knee soreness and had a lubricant injection on Friday.
Where did they inject him?
I'm leaving it at that, man. That's fair. We'll keep it moving. Man. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So Chris wants us to bring your kids to work segment. That would be
not happening. Chris, my kids have too much dirt on me. That'll never happen.
We need to make that happen, Chris. We need dimes dropped on D Gun. That's what we need.
No, yes. that ain't happening. No.
I know. And Barrett's being awfully quiet over there when it comes to this subject too.
I'll tell you right now, we get Barrett's kids on here. This is gonna be a showstopper, man.
Bro, my kids, and they don't pull any punches. They just gonna let it all go out there.
Yeah.
Dad, you remember the time? I'm like,
the way you curse at your kids, they know they want redemption.
It's not cursing, man.
What do you call it then?
I was told that
what do you call it?
Just colorful language.
Right. Look, one time, look. So let me tell you about my father-in-law. God rest his soul, but my father-in-law, right? Me and the wife, we had just got married. We've been married for about maybe 5 years then, so the kids are about 5 or 6 years old. So he's just cussing away, cousin sailor, and he turns around and I said, "Hey, MC, man, you gotta chill. We're cussing on." Oh man, he said SHIT and damn ain't cuss words. Hell, we said worse than that. I'm like, they're not cuss word. What do you mean they're not cuss word? Oh, they're not cuss word. I'm like, come on now. Well, according to them, they're not cuss words. So hey,
motivational speaking.
Rob, I used to sit right across from Baird, right?
Yes.
I heard him chew his kids out so bad, I felt uncomfortable. I had to get up and walk away.
Oh, jeez.
That's not bad.
They weren't.
What? Really, Barrett?
My kids understand me.
Yes.
Yes. But you said
they know what the expectation is.
Right.
I heard Barrett use words. I had to look up in the dictionary and see what they were, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Now you telling stories, D-Gun.
Barrett.
Now he say, "Look,
Barrett, God is your witness."
They gotta learn.
All of a sudden they gotta learn now, huh?
Yeah, they gotta learn.
Can't you use a more gentler touch in terms of getting your message across?
Okay, Israel, would you please stop doing? No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
Keep on. That's all I'm gonna say. Is keep on.
No, that's not how you put it.
I know.
You guys would enjoy too. There's an HBO documentary. I think it's 2 parts. Judd Apatow did it on George Carlin. And he does the seven words you can't say, on TV. Pretty good, man. It's pretty good. It's pretty funny. And a lot of what he was doing really applies to stuff that's happening today. I will just say that. if you watch some of his stand-up, man, it is like dead on for what's happening today. So
Right.
check that one. That's on
Right.
HBO.
Kids
I'm here to help.
They don't know what to do right now, man. These kids are lost, man, because we don't have enough, swift kicking and stuff, man. Like
Right about that.
I mean, I knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? I survived. So if I survived, why can't my kids survive?
These kids nowadays are soft, man. Let's face
Right,
it. And I'm talking about
right.
kids in their 20s, 30s, even early 40s. They're soft nowadays, man. They couldn't handle what we had to go through to get through life.
Absolutely not.
It's definitely a lot different. It's
No,
it's a different world. And look, they also have a lot. I mean, social media has just changed the game.
I'll tell you that.
Not in a
There is
good
no
way.
way.
For the worst.
Yeah, not in a good way.
There was no way that there would be an NFL if they had camera phones back when I first started playing.
Oh, no.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
No way they could have.
Agreed.
I mean, I'm talking about in this instant gratification, this social media stuff. It's going to be a lot of kids getting fired or not even being able to get jobs.
You never get the job because the employer is going to do the homework on what they've done.
Oh, yeah.
Say, is this you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, thank you. We don't need that for our company.
Exactly. And I actually go to motivational speaking without cursing, Derek.
You
And
do?
I talk to kids in high school, junior high, and I tell them, look, once you press send, it's privileged to 7 billion people in this world, man.
That's right.
I mean, you got to watch what you do, man. You got to
That's
watch
right.
what you say. You can't just post whatever you want to post. What you posting now is going to keep you from getting a job later on.
Yep, that send button, it can ruin you.
Right, exactly.
It can ruin you, the send button. And that's something that you got to drive home, man, because it really will. I mean, somebody else is equally qualified for a gig and they don't have that baggage. Forget it, man.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I love a good debate.
You notice this, Rob? All of a sudden, Derek is just holier than thou when he's talking about his kids. I didn't seen him.
No.
All kind of crazy stuff.
Okay, have you ever heard me curse at my kids? Ever?
I'm not
Have you
around
ever
that
heard me
much.
curse?
I'm
Okay,
not around you that
but
much.
you ask now. I will let my kids on, all three of my kids on for 5 seconds to answer the one question. Has Dad ever cursed at you? And then I'm gonna click them off. Goodbye. Gotta go.
I can do the same thing. I can tell my kids, and I'll be looking at them. Have them cursed at you? You'll get that exact same answer.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, my
All right. So we will set our sights on the birds, guys. When we get back, we'll talk a little Eagles with John McMullen from Birds 365 with Jody Mack each and every morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here at JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. You can check that out. But John's going to be joining us next. Interesting piece regarding Jalen Hurts and what the sort of backup plan, if you will, could potentially be if things don't work out for him this year. So we will talk to John when we get back. After that, we're going to dive into the NFC, the conference itself. Go, toughest to weakest, weakest to toughest. We'll see where the NFC East falls. We'll do that as well. Little Sixers also. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I'm going to tell you about my friends at Pro Action Restoration. If you have a home, you have a business, and with some of this crazy weather that we tend to get this time of year or any time of year, quite frankly, you could have water damage, you could get smoke damage, you could get fire damage, mold damage, whatever the case may be. And look, you're not sure what to do, how to fix it or who to call on. Well, Pro Action Restoration is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I've gone through it. I experienced it at my parents' house, and they were older folks. They didn't know how to clean up. I'm over there trying to shop vac and wet vac, and it was a mess. So I called Pro Action. They came over. It was a Saturday. They were over there quick. They cleaned it up. The price was reasonable. The crew was beyond professional. And the beauty is they're licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company as well. Again, it could be water, could be fire, could be smoke, could be mold remediation, even if you're not sure how to clean something up necessarily. Just give them a call and they can consult with you as well. Give them a call at 610-623-3760. That's 610-623-3760 or online at proactionrestoration.com, proactionrestoration.com.
on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake them out. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
All right, we are back. Hour number 2, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. The Gun, B. Brooks, R. Ellis, and joining us now, you can catch him each and every morning with Jody Mack, Birds 365, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. Also, check out his work on JAKIBsports.com. That's JAKIB Sports.com. He's got a bunch of good stuff up there today, including a piece. Eagles will have plenty of options moving forward at quarterback, where John just kind of examines what could be a plan B, if you will, or a backup plan if it doesn't work out with Jalen Hurts. Welcome to the show, John. How you making out?
Doing well. How are you guys?
John, what's the deal, babe?
How was your fourth?
It was okay. I get a little upset as a dog guy about all the, turning the local neighborhoods into Beirut at night. But other than that, it was nice, relaxing time.
All right. That's what it's all about. Go ahead, Derek. You want to say something?
No, you're muted.
Derek, you're muted. Hello.
Oh,
hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm back.
Hi, Derek. Hi. Welcome to the show, Derek. He's got nothing. All right, John, I'll ask the question then. I thought Derek had something.
I thought D-Gun was going to back me up on the dog thing, but I don't know.
No, I'm sorry. No, you said you had a dog that died?
No.
Oh, what did you say? I'm sorry, I missed it.
With the fireworks, the dog's going crazy.
The dogs go nuts.
Yeah,
mine got a little. My dog usually doesn't react too much to them, but got a little squirrely last night.
My dog was running around the yard flying.
Yeah.
We have 3 dogs, and 2 of them go ballistic. The 75-pound dog, you try to put her in a room, she will rip the paint off the door trying to get out, and the other one, who I call Jughead, he is so afraid. He gets up under you and he puts his nose under your armpit, and you have to put a blanket over him. And he just shakes until I can't make this. If there's fireworks or thunder and lightning, I wish I could make this up. And then when you get up and walk away, he follows you everywhere you go. You don't even know he's behind you. You almost step on the poor thing. And I'm like, hey, somebody come get this dog, please. I can't have this dog up under me like this. Because if I accidentally step on him and break his leg or something, I don't want to hear the vet telling me, Oh, that'll be $2,323.
Be a lot more than that, probably.
Oh, heck no. No.
Yeah,
Can you just give him a wheelchair or something to get, hey, I ain't paying any kind of money to get the dog. I got to think about that one. Woo.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Well, John, let's start with this. Again, really good piece today, and love all the stuff you're doing for JAKIB Sports. But look, nobody wants this to be the case or the scenario. Everybody wants Jalen Hurts to go out and crush it, and you can use those picks on whatever you want, whatever else you feel like you need. But they have 2 picks waiting in the wings next year, depending on how they finish up, and et cetera, and New Orleans as well. That could very well turn into the possibility of trying to move up, trying to grab a CJ Stroud, although it's going to be a big leap if you're trying to get up and get those guys. But we've seen Howie do some pretty crazy things before. Or you could trade those picks and potentially get a guy who's currently playing, which feels like the former is a lot more of the Eagles' MO than the latter, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of dependent on the landscape. Look, I think the Eagles have done an excellent job. I mentioned this morning of making people quickly forget that they already tried to upgrade this offseason from Jalen Hurts. Didn't get very far, but they were very interested in Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, the players, and obviously they didn't want to come for Philadelphia for whatever reason. Don't want to relitigate that, but understand they were willing to improve if they saw the avenue to improve.
Yeah,
that's number one. I think there's been this strange kind of narrative that the Eagles are in this weird position where they don't have options any longer, and it's going to be really difficult because they're not going to be able to get up to the top of the draft, as you mentioned, Rob, with CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. One, they already did this in 2016. They moved up from 13 originally. People forget. They leapfrogged, I think, to 8 and then ultimately to 2 to get Carson Wentz. So Howie Roseman has proven he can be pretty inventive when it comes to these things. But even if he can't do that, the assumption that there's only 2 quarterbacks in this draft coming up. Now, it's very early in the process. But you already see a host of names coming into the mix as potential first-round picks. Will Levis, a kid who used to go to Penn State, transferred to Kentucky, could be a top 10 pick. Spencer Rattler, people forget about him, transferred from Oklahoma to South Carolina. All of a sudden, he's back in the mix to be a potential top 10 pick. You got a kid in Florida, Stanford, Miami. All these players have been mentioned as potential first-round picks. So this assumption that it's 2 players or bust, no, this year's draft class stunk at quarterback. Next year's draft class is supposed to be really good at quarterback. So that's another part of this equation. The third part is where the Eagles start. And they're going to start with their own pick and the Saints pick. So if the Saints are good, that makes it more difficult. If the Eagles are good, it makes it impossible. But who cares? If the Eagles are good, they're not going to be looking to move on from the quarterback.
Right. And if you want to move on from your quarterback, it means your record's probably going to be pretty bad. It means if Hurts didn't play well, it's going to be less of a challenge.
And that means, and that's what I'm trying to say, Rob, that means if you want to move on, you're going to start with at least one of those picks in a decent spot to do that leapfrog. Might even be 13, where it started in 2016. Then you're going to be able to get at least into the bottom half of the top 10 and take one of those other quarterbacks. So the whole point of the piece was, they have plenty of options. I don't know where this sort of narrative has come out of where they're going to be in this purgatory and not be able to move on from Jalen Hurts. If they're not confident in Jalen Hurts, they'll be able to move on. That was the whole reason Howie did what he did, to give himself that, I hate saying optionality because that's a Sam Hickey word, but optionality, and he has it. And the hope is that Jalen Hurts performs well, and we don't have to talk about this stuff, but they have plenty of options, and that's the safety net that they sort of built into this.
I just from reading your article and listening to you two this morning, I thought the biggest thing, the most glaring thing that we talked about was not necessarily if Jalen Hurts plays good enough, but more so paying Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
and that's the biggest thing, because we know how he likes to sign guys earlier to make sure he gets them under the fair market value, and we're talking about $35 to $40 million. Well, actually, it's not even 35; it's $40 million for a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's the going rate. That's exactly what you have to pay him if they go into the future after this year. And you brought this up saying, they don't have to do that. They don't have to pay him next year. They could wait and let him play another year, play this out, see if he really is the man. And that's the biggest thing I got from, why wouldn't they just let him play both of these years out? That way they know concretely what's going on.
Well, you got to be very careful about letting coaches and quarterbacks into a so-called lame duck year. You don't want to do that. Bad organizations do that because it sends a signal to the rest of the team, the rest of the locker room, that you don't believe in the coach, you don't believe in the quarterback. And look, the Eagles like to, as you mentioned, Barrett, they like to identify young players early anyway, because Howie Roseman understands it ain't getting cheaper if they perform. It's only getting more expensive. And if you keep kicking the can down the road, it's only going to get more expensive if you finally have to pay the player. That's one reason they don't want to go into that lame duck year. The second one, and I think the far more important one, is that signal I was talking about. Look, if you go into a lame duck year with Jalen Hurts, you can do it, but you pretty much signaled, okay, we're done. This is it. We're going to turn this thing over because you kick the can as far as you can go. Year 5, he's a veteran player. He's on his second contract. Either you're going to sign him for significant money, or you're not going to want to sign him for one of those Jameis Winston type deals, because what's that going to do for you? And that's where the draft pick comes in. So the only way I could see Jalen Hurts playing on his 4th year on his rookie deal without an extension is if the Eagles draft somebody like Levis. I use him as an example, have no idea if they like the player, and he's not ready to play, and you let Jalen Hurts have a year, he learns on the bench, and then you sort of flip this thing, and you still have a young quarterback on a rookie contract, and you can at least build the rest of the roster around him, and you keep on this cycle, which some have speculated the NFL is going to start doing, because other teams are going to say, do I really want to pay so-and-so, whomever, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, those types of quarterbacks? Do you really want to pay them $40 million a year? Or do you want to keep just rotating with young quarterbacks on rookie deals until you find the guy?
Hey John, I loved your article. I thought it was on point, everything you said. And as I read the article over, the one thing that kept coming to my mind is, and it's going to get heated up as the season goes along, if Jalen Hurts plays mediocre, all of these lounge chair quarterbacks, including us in the media, all of us are going to start looking at some of these college quarterbacks thinking he's the next can't miss guy. And history has shown there is no such thing as a next can't miss guy. It's such a crapshoot drafting a quarterback. In the Super Bowl era alone, there have been 43 quarterbacks. Just think about this. 43 quarterbacks that fall in the category of first round bust. Okay. Think about that. 43 and that have been, and if the Eagles are in a position to draft, now they were spot on with Carson Wentz. Unfortunately, it didn't last for whatever the case may be. It just didn't last. But even if we all agree that the Eagles may need to use a first round pick next year on getting a quarterback, there's no guarantee they're going to pick the right one. Yeah. Because the high profile quarterbacks, there's so many names like Brady Quinn, Josh Freeman, Tim Tebow, Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Marcus Mariota, Tim Couch, Jeff George, Dan McGuire, Todd Marinovich that were considered can't miss quarterbacks and flamed out. Jamarcus Russell that flamed out before the NFL careers really began. So I understand why the Eagles are investing so much into Jalen Hurts right now. They want, like you said, they want him to be the guy which alleviates a lot of problems for them beyond 2022 if he rises from the ashes and do what they're hoping he can do. But if he's not, we're going to be sitting on pins and needles, not just through the draft next year, but until that guy steps under center like Donovan McNabb did, and it's his show, until we truly determine whether or not this guy can play at this level or not. And that just scares me to death when your team is looking for that next great quarterback. There's no guarantee you're going to find him in a draft.
Well, and that's where I wonder too. And this doesn't feel like it's something they're big fans of doing for a lot of reasons. But you're going to have options. You're likely going to have Baker Mayfield types out there available, and who knows beyond that what happened with teams that just don't have the same kind of year you thought. Guy is up and down, whatever. John, do you think that that's a possibility, and how likely are they to explore the market in the league, guys who are already established veterans?
I don't think, and they've kind of shown it this year, Rob, where, people think it's an insult that you look into Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson. I think it was actually a compliment to Jalen Hurts for this reason. The Eagles were willing to upgrade. They wanted to upgrade if they could find a superstar elite quarterback. And they considered those two names, Watson from a talent standpoint, obviously Wilson more proven without all the off the field stuff. But I think we can all agree those guys are really, really superstar level talents. The Baker Mayfields of the world, the Jimmy Garoppolos, Eagles have had no interest, not even thinking about it. And you could make a strong argument that they're both more proven than Jalen Hurts. But the Eagles have no interest in moving in that direction because they do like Jalen Hurts. So in a lot of ways, I think it's a compliment that they only had this small sort of avenue. All right, we'll upgrade if we can get Russell Wilson. We'll upgrade if we can get Deshaun Watson, which was never going to happen. But that's it. Other than that, we're going to go with Jalen Hurts. So I think that in a weird way, that's a compliment, as I said. Moving forward, because of how the Eagles set this up, and, Pro Football Focus says they have a top 10 roster. They built up this roster, number 7 overall. Well, there may not be a Russell Wilson type, and more likely than not, there's not going to be a Russell Wilson type available. And even if he was, then you got to go up into that 40, 45 million range.
Right.
That's going to affect the rest of your roster. So I think moving forward, the Eagles are going to go draft pick or not, or Jalen Hurts is going to seize the job and they're going to continue to build around him. If he doesn't, as Derek said, there's plenty of misses, but they're going to go draft pick. Yep. And they're going to go with one of these quarterbacks in the draft.
Well, just think about this, guys. So if they have some pricey, like Carson Wentz type contract on their at the quarterback spot, you're not looking at Hassan Reddick. You're not looking at a lot of the other moves. They have that flexibility because of, frankly, what Hurts is making. It was one of the beauties of 2017 because Foles and Wentz weren't costing you an arm and a leg. So you could be aggressive in that offseason leading into the Super Bowl year. That's a great spot that they're in. That's another reason why you want this to work with Hurts.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of mentioned in the first part of this, the rotation sort of. If it doesn't work, don't go for that bridge. Don't go to Baker Mayfield, who's kind of good, but he's a bit limited. And keep going rookie, so you can build the roster. And hopefully you hit on the rookie. If you got to turn it over in 4 years, turn it over in 4 years. Have a more college-like mindset. If we don't have the guy, let's go try to find the guy in the draft rather than take that middling. I don't want to criticize him, but everybody points to Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins. Really good quarterbacks, but not good enough.
Right.
And, you're sort of in that position where you got to pay him a ton of money, can't build up the rest of your roster. At least the Eagles right now have been able to build up, bring in the Hassan Reddick. You can't pay A.J. Brown $25 million if you're paying Russell Wilson $40 million.
Right.
You can't do it.
That's right.
Well, you're saying that Baker Mayfield is better than Jalen?
Well, proven. I mean, you got to be honest, Barrett. I mean, this guy made the playoffs, won a playoff game in Cleveland, which hadn't happened since when? I mean, forever.
1992 or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, Baker Mayfield, and last year he had a bad year, but I think a lot of people don't realize he played through a pretty significant injury. And you know, coaches, Barrett, will have a ton of respect for that because they needed him to be out there because he was better than the alternative. He played through it. Now, I don't think the Eagles like the intangibles nearly as much as Jalen Hurts. The leadership, there have been some. Cleveland said it themselves. We needed an adult in the room at the quarterback position. But I think if you're being honest, Baker Mayfield has produced more in the NFL than Jalen Hurts. Got to be honest about this.
Yeah.
I think he produced because he had more to produce from. If you take Jalen Hurts and put him in that offense, you would find that Jalen Hurts would be just as good as a Baker Mayfield. When you're throwing to your best receiver being a rookie, and guys that really couldn't create separation. Well, didn't know how to really run routes the way NFL players run routes. Then you would say, all right, you put Baker Mayfield in the same offense last year, he'd probably have just about the same success. You put Jalen Hurts behind that offense when you have a running game like that. You know what I'm saying? Eagles just learned to have a run game like that. But you're throwing to guys that are much more capable of being receivers. I think that his career would be a lot more than Bake's. That's just my.
I think they would go about it a different way. I think, look, Jalen's a different player. You have that sort of plus one in the running game. Cleveland's running game is more traditional. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, great offensive line. They both have great supporting cast. Jalen will get to show. Look, Jalen and Tua in Miami. Which is ironic, the old teammates from Alabama.
Right.
they have no more excuses. I mean, the Eagles have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, maybe the best offensive line. They added Tyreek Hill in Miami to Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki. Both those guys are on the clock, so to speak.
Yep.
You're not going to have better supporting cast. So, look, Baker's had a good offensive line as well. He's had good running backs. He's probably had better receivers. So that's fair. But I think from a production standpoint, and by the way, from what the Eagles want to be, and when I say what the Eagles want to be, I'm talking about the owner and the head coach. They would have they would rather have the guy who can sling it than the guy who can run it.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No doubt. And the other thing that's going to happen, and this is, I don't even know if this applies to the Eagles, but you're going to have teams and players like, for example, the Jets and Zach Wilson. If the Jets aren't good and he doesn't shine because we have no patience now, they're going to be calling for him to be run out of there. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence might have a little bit longer leash, but they'll be screaming about him if he doesn't take a huge step forward, in Jacksonville. All that kind of stuff could potentially change the marketplace as well if you're looking for the already in the league type of guy. I personally don't think the Eagles want to go that route, but that's something else to consider here. But to your initial point, John, way back to the college guys, there's no better example than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, after he transfers from Ohio State, has a decent first year with LSU. Wasn't on the radar, and all of a sudden he vaults to the Heisman and the number one guy, and he looks like the next quarterback that there is. So things change really quickly, even in the college year.
Yeah.
Oh, they sure. Zach Wilson. Nobody was talking about Zach Wilson coming into that year, and all of a sudden he turns into the third pick in the draft. You go back to last year, there was one pretty famous draft person who said Carson Strong was going to be the number one overall pick at this time going into the last year's college season. The Eagles got him undrafted. A lot of other people thought Sam Howell. Turns out to be a fifth-round pick. Spencer Rattler, he got benched at Oklahoma, had to transfer to South Carolina. People were talking about him as a potential for number one overall pick. Things can happen really quickly from both a positive and a negative fashion. But scouts are pretty much in concert that this is a much, much better quarterback class coming up than last year's.
No doubt.
And
Dyke is pretty good.
And here's the thing, guys, from the Eagles' perspective, you can't just assume we can keep kicking this can down the road.
Right.
You have 3 first-round picks. You started the process this year. They only used 1, but they started it with 3. Now they have 2. The assumption that they're going to have the same optionality in 2024 as they've had in 2022 and 2023, that's a leap of faith.
The one thing I want to see from Jalen Hurts, beyond just his play on the field, we applaud him for his maturity when he steps in front of the mic, but every man has a breaking point. No matter what you do in life, you have a breaking point. If things are going south from him, and as you guys all know, all 3 of you know this Philadelphia market well. When if all of the questions are based on his deficiency every time he steps in front of the mic, what's his breaking point of getting tired of answering those questions? If he has shortcomings in a deep passing game, if he has shortcomings in reading a defense, going through his progressions, if he has shortcomings in staying in the pocket just a second longer and running instead of waiting 1 more second for that receiver to free up, people are going to ask him about that constantly. He has done a commendable job up to this point in a limited amount of exposure we've had a chance to see him in front of the media of answering questions. But if the questions are a constant barrage of his negativity instead of his positive productivity, what's his breaking point? Because if he has a breaking point, you guys all know we in the media are going to jump on this and run with it, and we're going to see how it affects him on the field as well.
Well, there was a little bit of that. If you guys remember last year, testy, I don't know if that's the right word, but there were a couple times where someone would ask him a question and he would be kind of like, he would either blow it off or get kind of annoyed because he's a no nonsense kind of guy. Right. And that generally serves him very well. I think that's a positive, that he's a very, he's focused. But you're right, Derek. If he's being constantly barraged with the same, hey, you can't hit that mid-range throw or whatever, I do think you could get a little something off of that with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good question.
I think with Jalen, you see, and you mentioned Rob there with, he gets short with things that he doesn't like the questioner or the question. And that'll be about it. If I had a hat, I'd give a hat tip to Nick Saban here, because you hear the same thing in Miami. I talked about Tua. You hear the same thing in New England. I was just reading today some Patriots writer writing about what kind of young leader Mac Jones is. It's all these Alabama guys, man. And Jalen calls it rat poison, and he stays away from it. He does a tremendous job of it. I wouldn't be worried about that. The most frustrated I ever see Jalen Hurts, and I've mentioned this before, I kind of laughed at it at the time. I thought the Eagles were just spinning. In training camp, obviously they're trying to protect the quarterbacks, and they blow whistles very, very quickly. They stop plays. And one day Nick Sirianni showed up and said, practice isn't necessarily the best environment for Jalen Hurts because, there's a lot of plays he can extend that they're going to blow dead in practice. And I said, I rolled my eyes a little bit. Sounds like an excuse. They did the joint practices with the Patriots. and Jalen was flushing out right, as he tends to do. And the ref blew the whistle, and he just fired the football into the turf, because in his mind, he knew, well, I could extend this play. I could keep going, and who knows what's going to happen. That's when I see him frustrated on the field, when he can't compete, things like that. I don't think press conferences, things like that, I don't think it affects him. I really don't. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't get angry at times, but he just puts that off, as you mentioned, with those short answers, and he goes on to the next thing. And again, if I had a cap, I'd tip it to Nick Saban. I think that's sort of, Nick does it with all his quarterbacks.
Sure. I hear you. Well, listen, John, good stuff, man. We're always looking for your work there at JAKIBSports.com. doing a great job there. And of course, with Jody every morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., Birds 365. You see the backdrop right there, right behind John. So, John, keep up the good work, man. Thanks for jumping on for a couple minutes with us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
You got it. John. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because we're, naturally we're focused. Any Eagles fan wants them to succeed, and we're focused on what's going to happen this year. But it's not a coincidence that Howie stored that extra first rounder in his back pocket just in case, and what it may end up looking like. But Barrett, back to, because I know you do a lot of college games. There's 3 guys that aren't on anybody's radar right now who we'll be talking about come November, as being first rounders or possibilities if the Eagles aren't playing well. I can guarantee you that, man. That's just the
nobody's even heard of.
No, it's the nature of the beast. Some team will come out of nowhere. Iowa State's going to go on a run or whatever, and you're going to say, "Oh man, this dude's pretty good, man, and this could be a good fit here."
Well, look at Carson Wentz. Nobody will Carson Wentz until after the Senior Bowl.
Right.
I mean, if you're not a Division one, FBS, then you don't really know about Carson. Carson was a baller, and going to the national championship. But that school always, his school always goes to that. They won a national championship last year.
Yeah, they won it. That's why it took him so long to get on the field, because the guys that were in front of him at North Dakota State were winning championships.
You look at guys like Carson Strong. I did a Carson Strong game last year against my Kansas State. They shut him down. But, man, when I saw what he is about, he's 6'4", 6'3", can throw it a country mile, but he's just a little athletically challenged in the aspect that he's functional. He has functional mobility at the quarterback position. He's not going to run away from anybody and break any pocket for running for first downs, but he could throw it accurately to whoever and whatever you want him to throw to.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how you approach. You want your team constructed.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you. All right. So we'll pick the football talk up in a moment. We're going to dive into the NFC conference in general and just kind of rank divisions from good to bad, bad to good, all that good stuff. So we'll dive into that. We come back, we'll talk a little Sixers, because the fellas, the sort of the main core of this group had a little weekend get together for the 4th of July. So we'll talk about that and what some of the implications, what else is to come for the Sixers, all of those things when we get back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are Sports Steak, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks on this Tuesday. Got to lock that in, Tuesday, not a Monday. So we kind of went through.
What are you eating? Dry Cheerios again?
Your favorite. Yeah, I had some dry Cheerios just to kind of get things going. You know what the worst is? I walk upstairs. Gross. I walk upstairs to fill up my red Solo cup, which I don't have in my hand, and I leave it on the counter, and I walk back down here, and I don't have it to drink.
Oh, I've done that. I've done that before.
Isn't that great?
So now you got the dry Cheerios in the dry.
I got nothing, man. Yeah, I got nothing. So halfway through the segment, I'm gonna be like, yeah. But anyway, getting old's great. Why did I walk in this room again? What am I doing here?
Right.
It's awesome.
I do that all the time, man. That's why I say, man. That CTE, man. We'll talk about that later on, but it's definitely something that I'm very aware of, and I'm very cognizant of it, and I make sure I get checked out for it. So we'll talk about that later.
Doesn't that drive you nuts, man? There's times when I walk out into the garage or I walk into another room, and I'm like, what am I in here for?
100%.
And then you walk out and go back to where you were, and all of a sudden,
it dawns on.
Oh, shoot. That's it. You go back in, and it's like,
I call him sometimes. Is this Bartholomew?
Yeah.
Bennett?
Exactly.
Yeah. Barrett. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'll do. The other thing is, look, having the ability to multitask sometimes is great. It's awesome.
Yes.
Because we have to in life, and a lot of times. But it also has you're just spread 15 different ways. So you're like, all right, I gotta. What am I doing? I did it earlier this morning. I was prepping the show, but I was doing something else too. And I'm like, I started walking upstairs for something, and I got like halfway upstairs. I'm like, I have no idea why I just walked upstairs. But it like you said, Derek, it dawns on you afterwards. And
yes.
A senior moment, I guess, or whatever. I don't consider myself a senior. Maybe I'm like a junior, but I'm not quite a senior yet. But anyway,
I refuse to give in to senior moments.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so a little Sixers. So we talked about what we did over the 4th of July weekend. I don't know if we quite, Derek, your party sounded fun. I don't know if it was quite what Michael Rubin threw for the crew up in the Hamptons. So Embiid's there, Harden's there, Tucker's there, Maxi's there. That's all we just know of as of right now. Meek Mill's on stage. The place is everybody's going crazy in the IG that was sent out, and we also hearing that's when some negotiations with Harden were taking place this weekend. See, first of all, Michael Rubin steps away. You guys remember this story as being a part owner of the Sixers, and he does extremely well with his other businesses, including the Fanatics and all this other stuff. And there was the theory out there that Michael Rubin leaving the Sixers will help the Sixers recruit, will help the Sixers sign guys because he can sign people to other kind of deals that are non-Sixer deals and non-NBA. So, put 2 and 2 together. Harden's up there this weekend. Who knows? But you see those guys out there partying, and this is also supposed to be when they're negotiating with Harden to figure out that deal that's so quote-unquote team-friendly. So what do we make of this?
I think I need to go to the Hamptons and go party with them.
I think I agree.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Let's get the boat. What would we go through to get up there, Barrett? To get
we'll jump on my boat, man. We'll take it all the way up the coast, man. All the way to the coast. We get to New York, man. So
I'm in.
It's the Hamptons,
Long Island Sound. I don't even know what you go. What was it? Jones Beach? What is it up there in the Hamptons? I think that's what it is.
Well, it is. You got to pay to play up there. That's big money up there.
I've never been to the Hamptons.
Oh,
I've heard it's insane. I
played golf there 2 years ago. Yeah,
it's like the shore on crack, right? I mean, it's like yeah.
Yes, you see little kids running around with Louis Vuitton wallets and stuff like that. They're playing basketball with Louis Vuitton covered basketballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not setting those kids up to be monsters, are we?
Right. So they do what they want to do up there. I mean,
First
it's like D-Gun's kids.
if your income doesn't start at $1 million, you're not getting in the Hamptons as it is.
Oh, no question about that.
No
question.
Me, I couldn't even be a butler and have the butlers up there make more money than I do.
That's making more money than all of us. That's what they do.
They do. I would love. I've never been to the Hamptons. You guys ever been to the Hamptons?
No.
I was in the Hamptons. I had a golf tournament in the Hamptons this year. I had one last year too, in the Hamptons. Unbelievable, man. I mean, I was in awe how some people live. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely a line of demarcation when it comes to what we do
Yes.
how much we make and what they do and how much they make up there.
Interesting.
Definitely.
So
that's Barrett Brooks money right there, boy.
what do you guys sense here in terms of what this is going to look like going forward? They've made a couple of moves. You know, they get Tucker, kind of the headliner of what they've done, but they made a couple other moves, the Anthony Melton, Daniel House, et cetera. So they've made some moves, which I think have improved them. But are they good enough? You know, are they good enough now to take it to another level? Do you think there's another move coming that's of note, or do you think it's just going to be sort of this level? We know Harden's going to sign his deal at some point, you know, whatever it turns out to be. But do we think they make some other newsworthy sort of noise kind of move?
I think they still need to make another move some way, somehow. To what degree it'll be, whether it's – I don't think they can make a major move, to be honest. I think it'll be another minor move, a move that will strengthen them in terms of hopefully defense and sporadic shooting. And it would be another piece that they feel comfortable with about putting in a rotation at any given moment. I don't think there's another splash move for them out there unless they make significant deletions on the current roster. And if you do that, then are you weakening your bench? Are you weakening your versatility in certain situations? So I think we'll see some other roll moves, not prominent moves.
I'm sort of feeling that too. I think it feels like that to me. They're just so cap strapped at this point. There's just not a lot of wiggle room to be able to do a lot more, unless Tobias Harris gets traded.
Oh, that's
could
it.
Be a game changer. Yeah,
right. That's it, Rob. And I don't see that happening. So right now, I'm looking at that roster. I think that roster is good enough to make it to the second round, get past the second round into the third round. Now, will it be able to beat the eventual, champion that wins it all? I'd probably say no. But I'm saying I'm looking at the roster right now. You got Maxey, Harden, Tucker, Tobias, and Embiid. Can you win with that roster? Yes. Can you make it past the third round? Yes. Do you have enough to win a championship? I would say you're a big piece short. But in order to get that big piece, you got to take Tobias Harris out. So if you take Tobias Harris out,
and maybe Maxey.
Yeah. So then I can't see doing it right now because at this point, you look at it. I think Tobias will play better this year than he did last year. I saw that.
I know. Look, he's way overpaid. So let me just start there. I get that the contract was a terrible contract, and they paid him like he was Kevin Durant, and he's really not even an all-star, but he's a solid player. But everybody who just wants to push him out the door, the only thing I would caution is, man, there goes 17 points and 9 rebounds per game, and a guy who's gotten better defensively. Like again, in the right deal, of course, I'd move him too. But their notion of just like get rid of him, man, addition by subtraction, what are you bringing back? You better be bringing somebody back who produces, if that's the case.
Yeah.
And if you're going to bring in somebody back, I mean, you're talking about somebody that's going to be a big piece. You're not going to get a big piece with even letting Tobias go. You're not going to get a big piece. I doubt it seriously if you get somebody on the same lines as Tobias.
Yeah. And likely, Barrett, if you do it, I mean, he's making in like the high 30s.
Yeah.
You're talking about multiple players coming back. And,
right.
Again, we look at the lineup now that's got Harden and Maxey and Tucker and Harrison and Embiid. Like, that's your starting five. I'd say it's pretty solid. I'm not telling you it's great. Okay. It's pretty solid.
Right. Right. I mean,
whatever you bring back, you better be able to plug in.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. You let Tobias go. You letting 17 points go. You're letting a guy go that, has the versatility to go out and at least cover, wing players.
Yep.
He showed the ability to play a little defense this year. So I think he's only going to get better, with the roster that, it's going to be more aggressive because with PJ Tucker being there, those guys are going to be a little more aggressive the way they handle, these star players.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Tucker. He's got versatility. And look, I don't doubt for a second. Like for example, a Dag says you're not trading him, you're trading his contract. Yeah, I agreed. It's 100%.
Right, exactly. Right.
No argument.
Right.
And believe me, I think it's probably killing Daryl Morey that he doesn't have more flexibility. I think he's trying to move him. I'm just saying, my only point is you better get some kind of, player who can do something, who can contribute in return if you do trade him. That's all. But like here's what I keep getting back to. We talked about this Friday. I think they're good. I think they're better. But I don't know. Do they grade out as getting out of the East?
Well,
it doesn't. Maybe. I thought, but it doesn't feel that way to me.
Well, this is all. It's really all on the shoulders of Tyrese Maxey. If Maxey can go out and if Maxey can go out and build upon what he built upon, what did he average 20 points this year?
Yeah, I'm around. I'm maybe approximately, maybe a little less.
Yeah. So you got 20 there. You got Tobias going to give you 17 to 20. And
Maxey was 20. Yeah, I think he was 20. Yep.
Yeah. So you got to beat him. You got some people that can light it up. You have potentially 4 starters that can give you 20 points a night.
Yeah, you got Embiid almost 24, Maxey almost 21, Harden was almost 19, and Tobias was just about 17, just out of those guys.
So I mean, you can't win with that. That's potentially enough. I mean, we're going to have to think about enough, because if you trade Tobias, you're trading a contract, but are you going to get the same player, or better than Tobias?
Yeah, but here's the other challenge, guys, when you look at this big picture in the conference. I'm just talking about the East. We don't know where Durant's going yet, right? Or Kyrie. So
we know he's not coming here. That's what.
No, I know. I'm saying, but let's just say I think it's less likely, but just for the sake of the argument, let's say Durant gets traded to Toronto. That completely changes them and how we're looking at them. We're including them in every one of these discussions because Toronto's pretty good to begin with. They're not bad.
Yeah, they are.
So he goes there. It's a game changer. He goes to the Suns. Brooklyn's in a rebuild, and you only have to see him twice a year. Who cares? Kyrie, if he gets his way and ends up in LA, you don't have to worry about the Nets anymore, right? Yeah. They're out of the picture. So there's still a lot to be done. I mean, we're still really early in this process, so it's hard to say exactly what it's going to look like. Like I think like the Boston move to get Brogdon, that's a nice trade.
Yeah,
and you to give anything up, like you just basically added him to Tatum and Smart and Jaylen Brown and that group. I mean, you gave very little up.
They're number one right now.
I'm with you. If I'm ranking, and look, they went to the, they went deep here anyway. But I'd have Boston 1. I think Milwaukee's going to bounce back because they're ticked off at the way last year went.
Yeah. Yep.
And look, you never discount Miami with Butler and that core and Spoelstra and Pat Riley. Never discount them. And one more. Sorry, let me add one more. If Durant goes to Miami, they vault to probably number 1 here.
And don't exclude Atlanta from the equation either.
Yeah.
They're a young upcoming team. They're a scrappy team. I'm not saying they're going to be better than the teams you just mentioned, but that's a team that if they put it all together, they're going to make some noise in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, we also got to look at this. If Durant goes somewhere, he's going to be the big piece right there. He's going to be the man there. But you got to give up so much to get him there. They're not going to be the same team wherever he goes. They will not be the same time. Even if he goes to Toronto, that means they're going to have some big ticket items leaving there also.
Great point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And then you're going to have to kind of go into somewhat scramble mode if you trade away a lot of pieces to get them. Then you're trying to get some things back to complement them, and then it becomes a whole thing. I hear you. Look, that's fair. That's really fair. But that's also going to be interesting. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of people that say, let it calm down a little bit, go back to Durant, see if cooler heads will prevail. I think he's done there. I think he's had enough. I think it was just too much for him, too much drama, too much nonsense. I think he wants out of there. And it isn't necessarily all Brooklyn's fault. A lot of this is on Kyrie, but still, I mean, I think it's just done as far as that goes.
I think wherever Durant goes, it'll make them an instant contender. Now, obviously, he's going to want to put himself in a position to be with a team that's already close to being that conference finals contender as it is. But You put Kevin Durant on a team that's one player away, and all of a sudden that changes the whole complexion of a conference.
But Derek, you can't if he goes there, if they're one player away and he goes to that team,
yeah,
they got to send away so many pieces to even get
I
his
know.
services.
I know. The only
You know
place
what I'm
I could really see him going where you don't have to give up a lot, you put him with LeBron on the Lakers, that's a whole different team right there.
I don't think the Lakers have anything to give to get him there.
They don't.
I agree. I agree. But I'm just saying, I just threw that out there as a thought that a team like the Lakers would be a perfect fit for him, putting him next to a LeBron. You put him down in Miami with Jimmy Butler. That's a game changer right there from that conference.
You put him with the 76ers.
Oh my goodness.
Put him with the Sixers. Outright.
Yeah. You put him with the Sixers. Oh.
You know, Morey is working it, but it's going to be a challenge. I don't look, the way the Kyrie thing works is Brooklyn takes Westbrook back and just buys him out, and they're in straight up just rebuild mode, right? I mean, that's what that is if they're going to do that, because they don't. There's no way Russell Westbrook plays for the Nets. It just doesn't happen, and you're looking to just unload, Kyrie and get rid of him, and you'll be that Westbrook contract to be off the books after next year, and you can start, rebuilding that thing. Unfortunately, that's the way the NBA works. A lot of this is just dump your problem for another person's problem, and if that person has a shorter contract, you'll take that on. It's not even about helping your team a lot of times, like in the interim, like in the immediate, future. It's about later and down the line. Man, we're going to talk about it later. I mean, Zion Williamson gets a 5-year, $231 million extension. The guy's played 85 games in 3 seasons, and you're giving him that kind of investment. It's crazy.
That's my kind of career right there.
I'm telling you, man. Where do I sign up? Never go to work. Never show up. Never capable of answering the bell. And when you do it for a small period of time, you get an insane, generational, life-changing offer.
Yeah. $231 million. I play that contract out, and I'm riding off into the sunset. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm gone.
I'm with you.
I'm saving my body for when I'm in my mid-30s. And how old is Zion now? It's still like, what, 20?
He only played 1 year of college. So he's at the most, he's got to be 21 or 2.
Okay, so you play that contract. What is that, a 3-4 year contract?
Yeah.
Five at the max. You buy out of the game and at 28, 29 years old, and you can sail your life away, buy yourself a nice 100-foot yacht like Barrett's, and sail your life away.
Man.
Yeah, he's 21 years old. That's all he is.
Are you kidding me?
21.
This dude is 21.
Imagine being 21 and being guaranteed $231 million.
Jeez.
Good God.
Oh my God. Oh my
God. The problem is, I'd end up in a ditch somewhere. If that would be a disaster if I had someone just gave me that kind of coin, man.
Good Lord. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
No, you wouldn't have them. You wouldn't be eating Cheerios. They'd be
Cheerios might be gone. I mean, it's something else. Man, there'd be a lot happening there with that kind of money.
Rob be eating Grey Poupon.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. Rob will never eat Grey Poupon. Let's face it.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. Larry David, the guy who helped create Seinfeld, and he did create Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Larry David. So he was broke forever until he finally made it with Seinfeld. Okay, till the show finally made it. He was a failed stand-up comic. He was a writer who it was just a mess for him until he was like in his mid to late 30s, and he finally hit big, right? So he hits big. He goes out. He was eating like ramen noodles, just trying to survive.
Yep.
He finally hits big, and he goes out and he orders caviar somewhere. I got to try this. All I hear about is rich people eat caviar, so I'm going to eat caviar. It turns out he's got a caviar allergy, and he can't eat caviar. So he's like, "Is that not irony?" I finally make it, and I order caviar, and I can't even eat it. He ate it, and he like blew up. His face and neck were swollen. He's all blotchy, the whole thing, man. And he couldn't even eat it. So
talking about crazy, man. I used to eat him in college. I used the hamburger helper with no hamburger in it. You know what I'm saying? It was just it was just helper. It was just helper. Yeah. So guess what I made today? Today I had some. Yesterday I fried some hamburger up for tacos. So I had the taco hamburger in there. I boiled some noodles and I put some cheese, and I had hamburger helper without making hamburger helper, but I made it like it was hamburger helper.
Oh my
Isn't
goodness.
that crazy, man?
Oh my
That's what I
goodness.
just ate today, man. I just ate it today,
God.
bro.
That's
I was thinking
awesome.
myself, I was eating hamburger helper with no hamburger, oodles and noodles, man. I mean, it was crazy. I remember being in college. We had on McDonald's used to have specials where they had, I think they were 23-cent hamburgers.
Yeah, I remember that.
I used to go buy like 20 hamburgers, and I go to Aldi's and I buy cheese, and because if you put cheese on it, it's like extra 50 cents. Well, I have the cheese there, the old cheese. You couldn't melt it; it wouldn't even melt. But you know what I'm saying? It was cheese.
Yeah.
And I would eat that, man, for like 3 or 4 days in a row, man. Just because college days were just tough.
They also used McDonald's on the fries would have these little like scratch off things, and you could maybe get a free fry out of it. Man, as soon as I saw that scratch off, I was on it, man, trying to get that thing going. It's crazy. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, man. Those days, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. So. So I'm just, it's going to be very interesting because Daryl Morey is typically aggressive. Daryl Morey is typically a guy who likes to wheel and deal. And he had a pretty quiet offseason last year for the most part. He did some things. But I think he realizes that this team's good, but it's not good enough right now. But he can realize that all he wants, and being able to pull off a deal is a whole different story. So that's what's going to be really, really interesting, to see what they end up doing and what he ends up doing, and whether he's able to bring anybody else in. So well,
if Daryl Morey is considered one of the best roster builders in the league, we're going to find out.
Show us. Yeah, we're
going to find out just what kind of miracle worker he is between now and September when they go to training camp. So,
yeah, agreed.
Keep your fingers crossed.
All right, let's step aside. We come back. We are going to go headlong into the National Football Conference, the NFC, and we're going to look at which division is the weakest, which is the toughest, what's in between, and we'll have a particularly, keep a close eye on the NFC East, of course, with the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Giants and the Commanders. We'll do that when we get back at 2:30. We'll do a little open talk like we always do. We'll jump around to a bunch of different things, including getting into a couple things, a really historic hire in the NHL, which we'll talk about. So don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up,
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports Day, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, each and every day, 12p to 3p Eastern Time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. All right, so a little football, back to the football action here, and looking at the NFC conference and just kind of gauging divisionally what the toughest is head to toe here, guys. And let's start with the weakest division. So you have the East, which constitutes the Eagles, Cowboys, Washington, and the Giants. The North, the Packers, the Vikings, the Bears, the Lions. The South, the Buccaneers, the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers. And then, of course, the West, the Rams, the Cardinals, 49ers, and Seahawks. Derek, I'll give you first crack. What is the weakest? Is it the East, North, South, or West?
South.
Okay.
Definitely. I think it's Tampa Bay's division to win or lose. But I put a caveat on that because we still don't know what Drew Brees is going to do. Is he going to come out of retirement? But when you look at who Tampa Bay stacked up against New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, we don't even know who Atlanta's quarterback is, basically. Marcus Mariota? Are you kidding me?
They drafted the Desmond Ridder kid out of Cincinnati as well.
Okay, and Jameis Winston and Sam Darnold in that division? Are you kidding me? I mean, no. So I say by far the weakest division has to be that NFC South. Tampa Bay is going to ride roughshod over that division unless Drew Brees comes back. I'm not a big Jameis Winston fan.
Yep.
So unless Brees comes out of retirement, I think that vision is Tampa Bay's to win or lose.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think New Orleans is an interesting team. They're still really good defensively. They kept the continuity with the coaching staff by hiring Dennis Allen, who was the D coordinator, and kept most of the other pieces there. And they still Kamara might get suspended. That may impact things, but Kamara's still nasty. They have a good receiving core. If Michael Thomas is healthy and ready to roll, but I think in the end, I think Jameis turns it over too much for my liking and hurts them in that sense. And he doesn't have Sean Payton there too, which I think hurts him. I agree with you with Atlanta. I'm just they're not good to begin with, and B, quarterback uncertainty. And I can't believe Carolina is going to battle with Sam Darnold. I can't believe it.
No, I mean,
Barrett, this is a guy who Matt Rule's job is on the line, and he's gonna live or die with Sam Darnold. Really?
No. I mean, I'm surprised the deal isn't done yet for them. So they have Baker. I thought that was all but a foregone conclusion. Especially when we were talking to Al Wallace last week. You're right. The NFC South, man, they just don't have any guns, man. They're bringing a knife to a gunfight every single week. So, Tampa Bay is going to run over that whole division. In fact, it's not even going to be close. So, next is pretty tough, man. But I would have to go with the NFC East.
Okay. Second weakest being the East. All right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I just think that, when you look at it, it's tough for me to look at the North and say that the North if the East is better than the North. I mean, you got the Packers there. Say what you want to say. Minnesota, they're not going to be as bad as they were last year. They get their running back. Their running game will be, pressed. Will press the issue a lot more. They got two really good receivers. And I think Detroit is going to be pretty good also. Chicago will still suck, but Detroit will suck also. I mean, they won't suck as much as the Bears. Detroit will be okay.
I like that they won't suck as much. I'm interested about I don't know about you guys. The Vikings, to me, with an offensive mind, I think they needed to get away from Zimmer.
Yep.
With pretty good firepower too. I'm a little interested in them. I think they could kind of be a swing team for me. Could maybe do some damage. They do still have a lot of good offensive weapons. The receivers are good. The running back's good. Cousins puts numbers up for whatever that's worth. I think they're interesting.
He averaged about 5,000 yards a season, man.
Yeah. The numbers are always there, and Detroit's improved. Detroit's going to be improved. I think their problem is ultimately going to be Goff, in the end. But I think they respond as crazy as Dan Campbell seems. They kind of seem to be responding to that guy. I think they're dangerous. I'm not going to be. I think they're like an under 500 dangerous kind of team. But I mean, it's still Green Bay's division. There's no doubt. Bears are terrible.
Irv Smith is a really good wide receiver. Really good tight end.
Yeah.
Vikings. Dalvin Cook being back. Of course, they got Thielen.
Jefferson
is just off the charts. So that's why I say that. And their defense is pretty good too, man. I mean, I forget how many guys they have defense. I mean, they went and got Lewis Sin, the safety from the Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Harrison Smith fan.
Yeah.
Patrick Peterson's still there. Rushing the pass, there's some guys. They went and got Zadarius Smith. Hopefully they say he's healthy now, so he's a really good pass rusher. Line him up next to Daniel Hunter. They can rush the passer.
Yeah, I like it. Derek?
I think the North is the second weakest conference. I still think it's Green Bay's division to win or lose. I was talking to my brother last night on the phone, and I let him get under my skin. He tried to pull a Jedi mind.
Were you talking to him or yelling at him?
No, he's always getting under your skin, by the way. He always tweaks you, man.
We're just talking about holiday stuff, and then he brings up this, your Packers are going down this year, and I let him get under my skin. I said, as long as you got Kirk Cousins as your quarterback, I'm not worried about Kirk Cousins. He'll put up gaudy numbers, but he won't win a big game for you. And then he brought up Zadarius Smith, who had the back injury, missed most of the season last year in Green Bay. Correct. Season before that, he was definitely the best pass rusher. Minnesota and Green Bay are going to be a dogfight. The game changers, the Packers not having Devontae Smith anymore, Devontae Adams anymore. But Green Bay had a number 10 ranked defense. They went out in they had 2 first-round draft picks. They picked 2 players from that Georgia's defense to add to that defense they already have. Green Bay has arguably one of the top 2 or 3 overall secondaries in the NFL. They've got some great pass rushers, great interchangeable parts. Minnesota's going to be there, but I don't see Minnesota winning that division. I do agree. I think Detroit is going to be a scrappy team, but I still think they're about a year away. Chicago's a train wreck right now. Still, they still have a long ways to go. That team basically is a practice game for a lot of other teams across the National Football League and the NFC North. So I would say it's a 2-horse race between Green Bay and Minnesota. Cousins has all these weapons. Barrett's right. Their defense is going to ball. They're going to play some good ball. But in the end, it comes down to Kirk Cousins, and I don't trust Kirk Cousins in a big game.
Okay. I forgot, man, that they went out and got those 2 different. They got Devontae Wyatt.
Yep.
Devontae Wyatt, who was my number 1 tackle.
Yes. Yep.
And then they got
the linebacker.
Walker,
yep.
Who was my guy too? I thought he was one of the. I thought he was the 3rd best linebacker in the draft. So
absolutely.
Wow, I forgot they did that.
Yeah.
So that's a sneaky draft that they had. That's pretty good, man. Then they get the kid Christian Watson. From
North Dakota State, who runs a 4.240.
It's 6'5".
At 6'5", runs a 4.240.
You know what? He's got unbelievable variance. Like he's either going to be a raging bust, or like we're all going to look back and say, how did everybody overlook him this long?
Green Bay's offensive line is legit. They got a good 1-2 punch at running back. We don't have to talk about the quarterback. That's the first ballot Hall of Famer. And I think in the last 2 seasons, Aaron Rodgers relied too much on Devontae Adams to the point it cost them both in the playoffs the last 2 years.
Yep.
Because he would not throw the football to other guys standing wide open. Well, now he has to throw to these guys. They've got some good tight ends. They've got 2 or 3 good tight ends. Right. Their second-tier receivers were not bad. Alan Lazard is not a bad receiver. He can stretch the field, and he's 6'4", 6'5". So now Aaron Rodgers is going to have to spread the wealth. And with that running game, that offensive line, if they stay healthy, Green Bay's going to be hell to deal with again when it comes playoff time. I don't know if they'll win 13 games. Matt LaFleur has won 13 games in each of his first 2 seasons because of that man throwing the football under center. Now that they've improved their defense and they've got a young array of receivers, it's going to be interesting. I think they'll still win 11, 12 games. I don't see them winning that 13. Not this year, but they're going to be tough to deal with. But Minnesota's also going to be a force to deal with. Like I said, they've got a new head coach. We don't know what he's like in big game situations. We already know what the quarterback's like. He'll put up 4,000 yards, 5,000 yards, 25, 30 touchdowns, but he'll also throw you that pick when you least expect it.
Well, Derek, let me ask you, do you agree with Barrett that the NFC East is weaker than the North?
Nope. And the reason being is because I think Washington is that X factor in that division. I think Washington is stronger than both Detroit and Chicago. And they've got a good defense. Terry McLaurin is happy now. They improved the overall passing game. They drafted a receiver in the first round. I love Antonio Gibson as a running back. The offensive line could be suspect. We don't know because they lost Brandon Scherf in free agency. But I think Carson Wentz is going to be on a mission to prove people wrong. He's got 3 good receivers. He's got Curtis Samuels to go along with Chris Olave? They drafted Olave. And Terry McLaurin, who's $71 million richer. Yep. Their defense is healthier. Chase Young is coming back, a man on a mission, to go along with those other 2 defensive linemen from Alabama who are rock solid in the trenches. I think Washington is not going to be a pushover this year. The Giants, to me, are like Chicago. I think they're a hot mess. They have a lot of issues at quarterback. I love the new head coach they have. I think he's a very creative. If you just look at the creativity he had with that Buffalo Bills offense, I think we're going to see a different Giants offense. We're going to see a more unpredictable Giants offense, more gadget plays. Can the quarterback run it? That's a big question. The same questions we have about Jalen Hurts, they have the same questions about Daniel Jones up in New York. They have a nice nucleus of receivers. They've got 4 good receivers up there. They may be hurting a tight end. They lost Evan Ingram. Saquon, we don't know what he's going to be like coming back. He had an off year last year after coming off that knee injury. Defense to me is suspect. And so I think the Giants are going to go through growing pains. But I think they're moving in the right direction with the head coach they hired once he gets his kind of players in there. And that'll take a couple of years. But I do think Washington is a much stronger team than both Detroit and Chicago. And that's why I say that the NFC North is weaker than the NFC East.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you with Washington. I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound like I'm having the same Eagles discussion we have. But if Wentz plays well,
yes,
they're pretty good. And yes. I'm with you. I think the thing that could really hurt him is I don't love their offensive line, but I don't think either. He's got some tools, and I think they're defensively, their front is really good. They're a little suspect when you get beyond that, but I think if you look at it from an Eagles perspective, it feels like another split. Like you'll split with them. I don't know if the Eagles are going to sweep them out like some people think. I think they're going to be a little bit tougher than people imagine. They have a good head coach. I do wonder, like all the crap that goes on with Snyder does weigh on an organization, and
that's the only reason why I didn't put him up there. Yeah. And now that we talked about it a little more, and we want you guys have shown me the way. I think I might switch up also. You made it very apparent that this Washington football team is pretty good. Well, the Washington Commanders are pretty good when you look at their defense, but I just can't get past the offensive line and that kooky dude up,
running the show. And that's not nothing. I know he's not out on the field, but man, if you're an organization, you're Ron Rivera or you're, I don't know, Wentz, whatever, pick one of their star players, McLaurin, and you're answering questions about Daniel Snyder's off the field nonsense, that gets old. You're trying to concentrate on the Giants coming up this week or the Eagles, whatever. So I just think that's always something to take into account when you're handicapping Washington is just all that stuff. I agree. Giants will be better soon because I do like Dable. I think Dable's a really good coach.
I do too.
It's going to take him a little while. It's not an easy job. Here's a couple things with the Giants. One, we've talked about this a lot. I don't believe in Daniel Jones a little bit at all. Okay.
Right.
They also have to figure out, what are we doing with Saquon? Are we going to cater this thing around him? Are we going to become a non-traditional running team? Are you going to use him in space more, catching passes out of the backfield? Do we want to limit his touches because we don't feel like he's going to be able to stay healthy? I think there's a lot of things to be determined there with how they go about their business. I don't love the receivers at all. I think there's questions along their offensive line too. So they would be my biggest Giant issues. I just think Giants are a team you may have to deal with in about 2 years, but not yet.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And Washington, by the way, got Jahan Dotson, not Chris Olave. My bad.
Yeah, Olave's with the Saints.
Yeah, they got Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, Penn State kid.
When I look at Washington, I mean, when I look at the Giants, and Rob, you said you don't like their receiving core.
Not really.
I think it's a receiving.
What do you like?
I like Kenny Golladay, but
he stunk for them last year.
Yeah, but look who's throwing the ball. Look what he was when he was in Detroit.
I know, but that guy's still throwing the
ball. He's still
I know it, but I'm saying, Sterling Shepard was an Eagles killer for a long time. He's okay. He's okay. Kadarius Toney, we don't know what he can do because he got hurt.
Yeah.
You got Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton, another Eagles killer. Slayton's a pretty good receiver, but again, we don't know what they can do because of the guy throwing the football. But they have 4 dangerous receivers in that mix. Let's see if Davo can get Daniel Jones not to an elite level, but to that next level. Of being a more efficient, a better manager. I always like to use the term manager. You can be a good manager of a game. Long as you're not turning the ball over, as long as you're not making an abundance of mistakes. Daniel Jones' problems is making the mistakes.
Yeah.
Now Brian Daboll is supposed to be pretty good with the quarterback. I mean, my God, well, look what he did with Josh Allen.
Yeah. I mean, Allen also had tools, Derek. Like, I don't know if Daniel Jones.
I don't either.
He's athletic, but
I don't either. But
yeah,
can a new head coach find his niche with this guy and make him a better quarterback? Not a great quarterback, but a better quarterback. If you make Daniel Jones an efficient quarterback with those guys he's throwing the football to, that makes the Giants a little bit more dangerous team. But like I said, the offensive line's a mess.
Right.
Saquon Barkley, we don't know if he's going to be the feature back anymore. And the defense has problems. I mean, they've got some decent pieces. You got Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams, and you got Kayvon Thibodeau. Mm-hmm. That's not 3 bad defensive linemen putting their hands down in the dirt.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, I agree. And look, just to lastly put a cap on the Jones thing. If you're going to bring in a guy who would help him, Dable would appear to be that guy, with a new head coach. So we'll see. And look, from an Eagles perspective, there isn't much we haven't broken down here. Huge upgrades in the offseason with the roster. And, we're going to see now. We're going to see what the quarterback in his second year as a full-time starter, what the coach looks like in his second year as a head coach, what the coordinator looks like in his second year as a coordinator, and Shane Steichen calling plays again. It's really like it's like almost like a 4 Mount Rushmore of unknowns to an extent. I know unknowns probably not fair, but we're not sold 100% on any of those guys I just named.
The whole division is a question mark.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
we didn't even talk about Dallas. Yeah.
They just can't get right. In spite of their head coach, they should have won it easily last year. They should have won the division easy last year. And even they should have beat the 49ers. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that team was loaded.
Yep.
Best defense in the division. They might have had, the best player on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And couldn't do anything with the 49ers. I mean, come on, man.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. With Dallas, there's 2 things that would concern me in a huge, huge way. Offensive line and their coach. And they're 2 big pieces. They're 2 big impediments going forward. Dallas has talent, and they're going to be good, but I think ultimately those 2 things let them down in a big spot.
Yep.
They're going to want to run the football. There's no question about that. Zeke is back there. They're going to want to run that football. Can that offensive line hold up? I don't think right now on paper is this dominant as we've been accustomed to seeing the last few years. Who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. I don't know. But
Tyron Smith's too old, bro.
Huh?
Tyron Smith is too old, man.
Yeah, he might not even hold up the whole season. Then they have real problems.
Right.
The defense is better, but Micah Parsons makes that defense a much more entertaining defense, but he can't do it alone. Mm-hmm. Trayvon Diggs is a great quarterback in terms of jumping routes, anticipating the ball. But the dude gave up over 1,000 receiving yards last year on his side.
Which that part never gets talked about.
No.
Yeah.
He's a gambler. He's a gambler. But they have other issues in that secondary. They've got 2 decent linebackers, Micah Parsons and what's his name? Van Der Esch. Van Der Esch couldn't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy.
It's three linebackers, dog. Because
who's the other one?
Curse is not a safety.
Oh yeah, Curse.
Curse is a linebacker, man.
He plays. He's in the box a lot.
Yeah, he's a safety, man. He's a safety that plays linebacker. That's what he is, man. But you're right, man.
Yeah.
You know, they're pretty good there, but Gregory's gone.
That's
a huge loss. Huge loss.
Off the edge, no question.
Yeah,
no question. All right, let's jump to the West. We got the Super Bowl champs. We got the Rams returning a good amount, some departures, but still, bringing back a lot for sure to that roster and adding some different kind of pieces. The 49ers, who are really good defensively, have an excellent running game, have that multi-purpose, Deebo Samuel / whatever you want to call him, receiver running back. You have the Cardinals, who generally start the season great and then, boom, fall on their face a little bit. And you have Seattle kind of rebuilding, but Pete Carroll's still there. So how do we view the West? Barrett, how about you take it first?
Well, of course, you have the Super Bowl winners, man. But, at this point, you're talking about a team that virtually going to run it back again, with the exception of defensive end. What's his name? He went to
Von Miller went to Buffalo.
Yeah, Von Miller went to Buffalo. With the exception of that, man, they come pretty much intact. Offensively, it was the Cooper Kupp show.
They added Allen Robinson.
Yep.
Right. It added him, but Cam Akers can still run the rock.
Yeah.
They got to replace that starting left tackle. He was
Whitmore retired. Yeah.
Don't forget Darrell Henderson's a bruising running back.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think their biggest weapon is probably going to be the defensive side of the ball, man. They got even better on defense, even with him leaving. They still have some guys that could, they got the best defensive player the past 20 years.
Happy paid Aaron Donald.
Yep. They still have Leonard Floyd coming off the edge.
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey's, a top 5 cornerback. I mean, they're going to be good, man. They're going to be good.
Don't forget they added Bobby Wagner to the linebackers.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's right. Wags is there from Seattle. So,
yeah.
Man, that just completes the whole little scenario.
Yeah, to me, I mean, there's no doubt they go in as the favorite. I guess the question, it's so hard to repeat if you're going to take it a step further.
Exactly.
We haven't seen it in, like 17 years. Nobody's, going back to back. So that's
the third receiver is not shabby. Van Jefferson's a pretty good receiver.
He's a good player. Yeah, he's good.
And their tight end Tyler Higbee is a brute, is a beast.
Yeah, just ask the Eagles. Remember what he did to the Eagles a couple
Oh
years
my
ago?
goodness, yes. Woo! Oh my goodness.
That was destruction. Yeah.
I think that division starts with the Rams. No
all right, so I think we'd all agree there. But here's where it gets interesting. What do we make of the 49ers?
Well, they still got to turn around. They got to get a quarterback. Their quarterback situation locked down. I think they are going to go into the season with Trey Lance. Jimmy.
You think it'll be Trey from the jump?
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy, once healthy, I don't think he stays on the team. I think they trade him as soon as he becomes healthy. On the side of the ball, they have Brandon Ayuk. He stepped it up last year as their big play receiver. He was in the doghouse in the woodshed for a long time.
A couple people wrote him off early.
Yeah. Kyle kind of, got with him and sat him down for a little bit. But, they still got Deebo Samuel.
Kittle.
He's pissed off that he didn't get his money.
Yeah.
So he's going to be coming back. George Kittle's probably, top 2 tight end. He's like the perfect tight end because he can run block and he takes pride in his run blocking. And his run after the catch, man, his yak yardage is sick.
Who would you put ahead of I would say George Kittle's the tight end now that Gronkowski is retired. Who would you put ahead of Kittle?
You still consider Kelsey, right?
Oh, Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I will Kelsey.
Yeah, but Travis Kelce can't finish the way George Kittle does. My goodness,
right?
That man runs with. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he runs like somebody stole his last dollar.
Right.
I've seen him freight train people. I've seen him shed 3 and 4 blockers. Travis Kelce doesn't do that. Travis Kelce to me is a hybrid wide receiver because you can't cover him one-on-one.
Well, you also got Walker too. Walker's pretty good too.
Well, yeah.
From the Raiders, But I mean,
Waller.
Waller's
good.
Yeah.
He was a little banged up last year. I'm trying to think of who else. There's probably some obvious. Andrews in Baltimore's really good.
Yeah. He's probably
underrated, right?
Yeah, very much so underrated. And then you got the rookie from Atlanta last year too.
Oh yeah,
Philly kid, Pitts.
Oh my goodness,
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts. And there's other guys that are like the kid Knox in Buffalo is really solid. Dallas Goedert, I would put even a notch above that is really, trouble.
I'll take Kittle. You give me Kittle.
I'll take Kittle. Yeah,
my goodness.
I would agree.
You know, I would take Kittle. Kittle does it all, man.
Yeah, he's a really good blocker too. That's what
he puts you on his highlight reel.
Yeah.
My goodness. SOB, bro.
He is. He's edgy. He is edgy for sure. That part reminds me of Gronk. That
he looks for contact.
Yeah, he's. I don't know how long he's going to play with that approach, but for right now, man, you ride it. All right, so we get beyond the Rams. Who's the runner-up there? Is it the Cardinals who have some ability, but late season flops, or is it the 49ers with the quarterback uncertainty?
With that quarterback situation, man, I don't know if you can rely on him to the end, man, because he kind of gave up a little bit, and that kind of rubbed some guys the wrong way.
There's a dynamic there, Barrett, that he's a pouty kind of guy too.
Yeah. So he caught feelings, and you can't be that way. You can't go to war with a guy like that. And I think these guys are starting to look at that. They did go out and get Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, to play receiver. We don't know if
Hopkins. That's the other part.
Be available.
There could be 6 games.
Hopkins is suspended. Half the season?
6 games.
6 games.
6
games.
That's a big deal, man.
I think that's some decent talent though. They've got Rondale Moore, who's a good receiver. AJ Green is there.
Old man Green is there.
Green. Zach Ertz.
Ertz is there. Yeah.
Yep. He's signed a huge deal, and I like their offensive line. It's getting better.
Yeah.
But the combination.
I'd still go Niners too, and then them 3 personally.
Yep.
Losing DeAndre Hopkins is huge for this team.
Really big.
And the fact that the combination of the head coach and the quarterback fading down the stretch makes me suspect about Arizona. Because once they lost that game to Green Bay, they were undefeated until they lost to Green Bay. They weren't the same team after that anymore.
They were shook, man.
Yeah.
There were moments where you could just see them melting. They need to finish strong, win a playoff game or 2 I think for Kingsbury to survive.
I agree. I agree, man.
And defensively, man, I like what they got. TJ Watt, say what you want to say. That old man can still play, bro.
You mean JJ?
JJ Watt.
JJ. Oh, yeah.
JJ Watts. JJ Watts is that he can still ball. You got Isaiah Simmons, man, is a guy.
Oh, yeah.
They really don't see what he really brings to the table because he could play safety, he could play linebacker, he could rush the passer, he can do everything.
Yeah.
And he's huge, man. He's like 6'5" or something like that, 6'5", 6'6", 240 pounds. He's 6'4", 240. But can play safety, can play out there on the edge, covering tight ends out in the slot.
Yeah.
Then they rush the passer. They got Marcus Golden.
Yes, I love him.
I mean, he's hard-nosed kid. I mean, I love him, man. Then Budda Baker back there at the safety position.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he is. He can play in the box. He can play deep. They just don't. I don't know if the coach is good enough to take him to the next level.
Yeah, he sort of feels like a college coach to me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they got Vance Joseph there, the DC. That's why their defense is so good.
I like Vance. Yeah. I like Vance. All right, let's recap then. If we're ranking West 1, you guys have a bit of a split here.
Yeah.
A little bit. So you go West 1 for sure. Derek, I'm assuming you go East 2.
I would go East 2.
Then North.
I changed 2. I changed East 2. I changed the East 2.
All right, so East 2, North 3, and then the South being the worst.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Yeah, we ran through the AFC last week. We did the NFC. We always like to give you an Eagles and then kind of branch out a little bit, beyond just the Eagles outlook for the NFL season. Again, training camp is the 26th. We're sitting here at the 5th, so we're 3 weeks away from training camp starting. Should be exciting, that's for sure. All right, we'll come back. Final segment of the program. We'll hit a bunch of different things with our open talk. It's always all over the place, so we will do that when we get back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
What's up, everybody? Welcome on back. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, final segment of the program. All right, so we touched on this a little bit earlier, but Joey Chestnut, 63 hot dogs, his 15th win of the hot dog eating contest, but down 13 from last year, guys, where he wolfed down 76. What is the most hot dogs you've ever eaten in a setting? Mine's 2. My max is 2. I haven't gone.
I say 3.
Okay.
I once ate 13 hot dogs, bro.
What? Just because you were starving, or was it contest?
No bread, though. No bread.
No bread.
The first 2 started out with bread, and then after that, I said, you know what? I'm gonna try. And I was trying a Joey Chestnut, and I had got 13 hot dogs now.
Oh, all right, so I gotta ask, without getting too graphic, what is the aftermath once you throw down 13 of those bad boys?
Oh man,
I feel like garbage.
I couldn't even move for like 15 minutes, and when I did move, I went straight to the bathroom. Had to let loose, man. I was sick as a dog after that, bro.
I don't know if those professional eaters are so used to it that they can function afterwards. I don't know, man. I don't know how anybody's body could take that.
How do you practice for that? That's what I want to know. How do you practice for that?
You know what he says he does, as weird as this sounds? He eats Tootsie Rolls.
What?
To get his jaw in training to be able to just eat so fast and just wash it down. So it's like hot dog, soak the roll because it just dissolves right down.
Yep.
And you train the jaw to be able to chew quickly and just boom, 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 boom. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, he does this in what, like 10, 15 minutes or whatever it is? It's craziness.
I'll tell you the most impressive thing I've seen. Remember when we used to have Wing Bowl at the Wells Fargo Center?
Yeah.
Was that little skinny girl called herself the Black Widow?
She was amazing. Sonia something. Yeah.
She was like 100 pounds soaking wet, and she won it a couple of times.
She did.
Over guys who would be like 6'3", 350 pounds.
Chicken wings, though. Yeah, chicken wings, though. Yeah.
How could you do that? But still.
No, but
remember. You have to remember.
Right. She was a little thing.
The wings were cold, and when wings get cold, the skins taste like rubber.
Yeah.
After a while. So I mean, how does your body do that, man? But still, I love these guys. They'll dip their hot dogs in a glass of water real quick. You're right, because the bread dissolves real quick. But still, dude, I'm not eating for a week after I down that many hot dogs, man. I can't.
know.
Oh,
I covered a couple of the wing bowls, the WIP wing bowls, man.
Yeah.
When I was I was working at Comcast Sports then as a field reporter and producer. I did about 3 or 4 of them. I was really happy when I wasn't assigned to that anymore. It was a freak show, man, of epic proportion.
Dude, I got to see part of Wing Bowl one time in all the years they had it. We were traveling to Seattle and our flight was delayed because of weather. So we had to get off the plane and go back to the station because the flight was going to be delayed by like 5 or 6 hours. Went back to the station. It was an early morning flight, so I just went down to the bowl, watched Wing Bowl. I don't ever want to see that again.
Yeah.
Between people throwing up and some of the stuff you see in the crowd.
Some of the people you see without clothes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Women. I mean, some of that stuff needs to be hidden, man. You shouldn't be exposing yourself.
It's the same thing with it. Like a nude beach sounds great in theory.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Until you see some of, and I mean men and women. So this is not me just bagging on. It should not be walking around nude. Period.
Yeah, until you sit down at the lower level and you're eating breakfast. Everybody don't need that, not have clothes on.
Correct.
No. Correct. Especially at 6 a.m, man. You don't want to see that, man.
Yeah.
People drinking beer all over the place at 6 a.m.
Well, no, you know what they do? So you go out the night before, stay out, go to an after hours place, keep it rolling right into the morning. So they are good and tuned up, man, and headed to the, But that's what it was.
And the place would sell out every year.
Sell out
every year.
It was usually it generally fell on the Friday before the Super Bowl, or it was like the week before Super Bowl, the off week, the bye week.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly, that Friday. So that's when it would generally. It was pretty.
The last one I went to, I just had this memory of nakedness with a python wrapped around the arm.
What?
Ooh. Yeah, that. Just leave it like that. I'm gonna just sit there right there.
What?
A real python snake wrapped around the arm in nakedness.
Yeah.
At Wing Bowl?
Yes.
And not someone you want to see nakedness with. Yes. Agreed.
No.
All right. So let's save ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to mess up your flow. So
I just want to give you a really cool story. I found this fascinating. So you may not be familiar with the name Mike Greer. Mike Greer becomes the first black GM in NHL history with the San Jose Sharks. First of all, in and of itself, that's awesome, right?
Yep.
So the follow-up to that is his brother Chris is the Dolphins GM. I did not know this.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
How many sports do you have a GM, 2 brothers in different sports that are usually the brothers are in the same sport? It's crazy.
I know. Isn't that something? Well, who better to lean on for advice than a brother who's already done it?
Yeah, correct.
I mean, obviously, it's 2 different sports, 2 different styles of player you're looking at. But you look at Mike Greer. I mean, he played the game in the NHL for 14
years. Yeah, this dude's been around.
So he knows the game inside and out. He was the operations manager for the Rangers, whatever that entails.
Yep.
So obviously
he's
paid his dues, and he's getting a shot at the GM. But kudos to the NHL. Yep. I mean, it's 2022. They finally break that barrier, and hopefully Mike Greer sets the tone to open doors for more minorities in prominent positions in the NHL.
Yeah, but if their parents are still around, I hope they are. They got to be like, wow, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Pretty cool accomplishment, man. So hopefully we'll see more of that. I did want to touch on this. It's not on the lighter side, which we generally do, but I know, Barrett, this hits home for you. But Demaryius Thomas, who unfortunately we lost at the age of 33 last year. Yeah, he was a day shy of his 34th birthday. It's just awful. For anybody who was around this guy or covered this guy knows that, during his playing career, they loved him. I mean, he was not only because he was a good player, but because he was a fun guy, a fun-loving guy, a real gentleman, like a really good dude. And the last year before he passed, he had a lot of problems. He had a lot of moodiness. Just other kind of issues that weren't in character with who this guy is. And in fact, he even said to his mom, this is not me. Like, I don't know what this is, but it's not me. He would isolate himself and all this other stuff. So he passed away, and they thought it was because he was having seizures at the time because he had a car accident, which brought them on. And they still think that may have been what caused his death. He had a seizure and hit his head. But they did the brain scan, and he donated his brain to science. And it turns out he had grade 2 CTE, and that may explain a lot of what was going on at the end of the guy's life. So it's tragic, but it's a reality that we're dealing with here. Barrett, I know you wanted to touch on this.
Yeah, I mean, because and I played 12 years, and I go get checked every year, just to see where my cognitive issues are, and even if they're progressing, they're staying the same, they're getting better. I want to have an accurate assessment of where I am. That's why I make light of it sometimes, and sometimes I really do forget like names and stuff like that. I'm not as sharp as I used to be. So it's a real issue with me, but I still got to make light of it because, I don't want to think about that all the time. But I mean, I played a very aggressive sport, a gladiator sport. Yes, I did choose to play this sport, but, and not knowing, and the NFL did know at the time that they could have been better at, at least putting us in a position to be more protected, calling the game more, helping us out a little better. Equipment, especially, I know equipment gets better as these years, go on, but still, people don't understand what a concussion is. Concussion is when your brain is, for, layman's term, gets bruised. You bruise your brain. That's what it happens. Yeah, and it moves and shakes it. So, this is something, that a lot of players, like I'm doing the same thing with my brain. Even though D-Gun might say they might not have much to work with, but
hey, don't bring me into this.
No, but it's definitely a serious issue. I definitely make sure that I go in and get checked on it all the time. And it's not just old man forgetting. But sometimes I do think that there is some things that I should be better at that I'm not at.
Barrett, when we did a show together called Quick Slants, you talked about it on that show, and you've talked about the CTE protocol and what they do on other platforms, and I found it fascinating. So for a lot of our audience on this show that don't know, can you go into detail a little bit about what you go through to get tested for CTE?
Oh, man, some of the stuff they do. I mean, even simple as far as playing with blocks and putting block shapes together, and I get tested every year, and when I go, I see other players, players that are maybe 5-10 years younger than myself. We go to this place, and we're in the doctor's office. And I'm sitting down in the doctor's office. And I'm looking over the guy that I played against maybe 15 years ago, but he's in, and I'm like 7 years older than he is, but he's like, it's like he's 100 years old. I mean, everything just slowed down. His cognitive reaction time is slowed down. He's not talking. His speech is slurred a lot. It's real sad. And most of these guys tend to go into hiding and become hermits because they're not looked upon as this NFL football player. The strongest of the strong. The meanest of the meanest. Now they're just out of touch what it is to be even around people because you looked at and they could see the delays and see how human you start to be. You start out being a superhero and now you're just next to nothing, man. It's a terrible thing. You got to go in and we might take a test and they might read 10 words to us, and then a minute later ask us to say those 10 words back. And you can't do it. Right? You know what I mean? They might, show you pictures and you sit down, you look at it, and then you have to draw that picture, and you can't draw the picture because you've forgotten everything or half the stuff on the picture.
The details, right?
Yeah, the little details. They'll tell you a story, and then the major parts of the story you can't even regurgitate because you've lost it. You don't know it.
Yeah.
So it's a real tough situation, and I don't like the way the NFL necessarily does it because I think of myself as being a pretty sharp. I'm an intelligent person. It's not like I'm a dumb guy. I never have been a dumb guy. I got an MBA in healthcare administration and finance. I've thought myself as pretty swift, but I'm not as swift as I was. So when you rank me, I shouldn't be ranked at other guys that didn't have the educational, get up to the education I got to. You know, I got there, but I've lost a lot of it. I lost a lot of it. And it's disheartening because they don't want to judge me from being down here. Well, you're fine. You're not even close to being down here. Well, hell, I used to be way up here, and now I'm down here now. And I know there's a difference. I know there's a delay going on. I know that there's something not right. You know what I mean? And it's tough, man. It's really tough as a former player, and you see guys and what they're going through. It's really tough.
Since CTE has come to light in our society, there's roughly 59 players that are believed to have died from CTE related injuries. That's just think about how many players before that that died, that it was and it's been never documented that it was CTE. So I started looking at Mike. I looked up some of the names of players that have died: Junior Seau, Mike Webster, Kenny Stabler, Bubba Smith, John Mackey, Aaron Hernandez, Dwight Clark, Terry Long. Now I mentioned Terry Long because Terry Long was a starting offensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers when I covered that team. The unique thing about Terry was only 5'10" as a starting offensive lineman in the National Football League.
Wow.
And he started for years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was a good friend of mine. My wife and I went to his house. He invited us over to his house to eat. And all of a sudden, once we moved, we started hearing stories about Terry Long going crazy and abuse and stuff like that. Come to find out, he has CTE. Then one name I saw on the list that really shocked me was a kid named Daniel Teo Nassim. Remember, he was with the Eagles.
Right.
Not that long ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
30 years old. Now, supposedly his story is he died after a night of drinking at a friend's house with a mixture of pills and alcohol in his system. The local medical examiner told the Seattle Times his family donated his brain to the Boston University School of Medicine, where doctors determined he had been suffering from CTE. So you wonder, he was 30 years old and had been suffering from CTE. And then I looked at a further list of former players who have been diagnosed with either CTE or ALS. And a lot of medical experts believe that former players who have ALS also have a form of CTE. Now, this is a list of players, just some names that are still alive that are dealing with this, and they range in age from 42 to 72. Somebody Barrett, Antoine Randall L., 42 years old.
Yep.
Supposedly is battling CTE. Mike Adamle, who was a prominent player and was a prominent sportscaster in Chicago
for a long
for
time.
years.
Yeah, long time. He was a national guy too. Yeah.
Yes, he was. Tony Dorsett.
Yep.
Bernie Kosar.
Wow.
Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
Dorsey Levens, who we watched. Dorsey Levens is 52 years old, played for the Eagles.
Yeah.
He was my roommate. He was my roommate with the Giants.
Yeah. Frank Wycheck, 50 years old.
Yeah, he's from Northeast Philly. He's a Philly kid.
Remember the running back George Rogers from South Carolina, Heisman, 63 years old. That's just scratching the surface. And what shocked me is we don't know an accurate number of how many players have died from CTE or are suffering from CTE, because a lot of the families want to keep the medical records private, whether they've died or still living. They don't want that revealed. And for whatever the reason, I don't know. But, and I joke a lot with Barrett about a lot of things. But, when I worked with Barrett and he was, hey, I'm leaving this week, going to California to get tested. Right. And then once you realize what CTE is and what you have to go through, that's one area I don't joke about, because, Barrett's 50 years old in the prime of his life. And you just listen to him talk about things he's starting to forget. And I pray that my good friend lives a long, happy, illustrious life until he's 90, 100 years old, whatever God gives him.
Amen.
So that's one thing I don't joke about when it comes to that, because I've seen it happen to too many players. And you look at how violently Junior Seau died. He committed suicide. No, Mike Webster committed suicide.
Yeah. No,
Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez, suicide.
The other thing, this is also where I'm always trying to catch myself, because I have people saying, man, why aren't they working these players harder, these days, in practice and all this stuff. I know this stuff doesn't happen as much, the head injuries in practice, but it can happen in practice. So part of it is you know, and
it happens more in practice, though. It happens more in practice.
Okay, you could speak to that better, Barrett. But I'm glad the CBA dictates that these guys don't have to put in the same kind of work. If it can lessen the chances of this type of stuff happening, man, it's scary. It really is. It is scary.
Think about how many coaches, trainers, front offices didn't even tell players they had concussions because they wanted them back on the field in the 60s, the 70s,
Correct.
and the 80s.
100%.
You know, and those are not even documented cases, but I guarantee you a good percentage of them probably had some form of CTE.
Agreed.
Back then, you know.
Totally.
Question. They say Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater's, they his family actually worked with my family at the post office in St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? His pops work with my pops, and our families are really, really close. You know, from Steve's going through it, right. You know, Andre Waters, exactly.
Andre Waters, yeah.
Yep.
You know, that mean it's something that's very real to me, but I make light of it because, you know, you make light of something to keep from crying about it. I mean, that's
right.
I know that, you know, that things aren't as good as they would have been if I hadn't played. You know what I'm saying? I do realize that.
Yeah.
But also understand I wouldn't probably be here in this situation that I'm in life.
Understood.
Without playing it too. You know?
True.
It's a double-edged sword, man. It's a double-edged sword. Same thing can make you laugh, make you cry. So I mean, it's tough one.
Yeah, and we're just talking about football. We're not talking about boxing, hockey,
what MMA, UFC,
MMA. How about how many young women in field hockey, and lacrosse,
soccer? Yes,
in soccer have concussions.
Yep.
That we don't even talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, they said it done a study. The highest rate of concussions come from women's soccer and field hockey.
Yeah, it's no joke. Look, I dealt with it. My daughter had a concussion last year. It happened in lacrosse, and it was awful. Frankly, it was awful, and it ended her season. You know, she had to go to physical and occupational therapy to, you know, it was hard. It's not to be taken lightly, man. Please take it seriously.
Yeah,
if you're even on the fence with any of your kids, err on the side of caution and get to a doctor or a hospital. But I'm sorry.
My son dealt with a concussion in high school football, and it took him a long while to get back on the right track. I mean, you know, it's you're hot one minute, cold the next minute. You're okay one minute, you're emotional the next minute. You know, you got to watch for all these signs in your kids nowadays that are playing sports. I mean, the world your kids live in today is a much tougher world than what our kids had to go through.
Yeah.
And so you got to pay close attention and look at these signs because I tell you, man, this CTE stuff is no joke.
Yeah, it's real. All right, let's end on a little bit of a lighter note. I thought that was interesting. I remember I brought up Larry David a little bit earlier, the guy who helped create Seinfeld. So today, this day, 1989, 33 years ago, Seinfeld's pilot debuted.
That's unbelievable.
And it was called the Seinfeld Chronicles back then. And I think there were 4 episodes that they released initially. It got so little response and did so poorly with the network brass that they tried to basically give it to Fox Network and say, look, you guys can have it. We'll offload it to you. Fox didn't want it. So the Suits decided, all right, we're going to give it like one more year. And if we get halfway through and it's bad, we're done. Slowly but surely, the numbers pick up the next year, and then it goes on to be the most successful sitcom in the history of television. But that's how close it was to being toast. It was almost done after 4 episodes, man.
I'm probably the only guy that never watched it.
you know, for the first 6 seasons, I refused to watch it. I thought it was stupid.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I started watching the reruns, and I'm sitting there dying laughing. Even to this day, they show them every day.
It's always on.
They're usually on at like 12:30, 1 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I watch them every night.
Yeah. I love it.
And my wife, as a gift, bought me the entire, 10 seasons, 11 seasons?
I think it was around there, yeah.
She bought me the collection DVDs. I'll pop them in every now and then watch. I love it.
Yeah. No, it's iconic, and it still holds up because there's still references like Jeremiah, no soup for you in our chat section.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is still referenced, man.
Oh, my goodness.
The contest and, whatever, shrinkage, like all of that stuff.
Oh, my goodness. And when they had
Seinfeld, man.
When they had the big trial up in New England.
Yeah.
And all the big
that was
names.
the last episode.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
It was a two-parter,
right?
And all the big names from all the years came in and testified against him in court.
Yes, all the stuff they did to him. Yeah, I got you.
How about the old lady when Jerry stole a loaf of
you
bread
old,
on the street?
You old bag.
You old bag.
Yeah,
Ran down the street.
Oh my God. All right, we got to wrap it up a little bit early today, guys, but it was fun. Hey, tomorrow, reminder, Jeremiah Trotter on the show tomorrow. So you do not want to miss that. That's going to be fun hanging out with Trot tomorrow. But great job out of our producer, Xander Krause. Thank you to all of our folks listening, streaming, and all the folks in the comment section. You guys rock. We appreciate it. Derek, great job. Barrett, great job. I am Rob Ellis. We will see you guys tomorrow at noon. Have a great one, everybody.
Be good.